can be divided into four types. Clear? First one is called as epithelial tissues. Clear, ma? Second one is called as connective tissues. Clear, ma? Third one is called as muscular tissues, and the fourth one is called as neural tissues. Are you able to understand? So these are the four types of tissues which are present in living organisms. Clear? Epithelial tissues means what? The tissues which behaves like outer covering to the organisms or inner layer through which body fluid flows. That is called as epithelial tissues. Are you able to understand, ma? So outer layers of the bodies or organs are they were having a covering, no, ma? So outer covering of the organs is made up of epithelial tissues. Or for example, if you take veins and arteries, they have an inner single layer. So through that single layer only all the body fluids they will flow, no, ma? So blood will flow. So blood will flow in arteries and veins, no? So that inner layer of arteries and veins, that is made up of a single layer of tissues which is called as epithelial tissues. Are you able to understand, ma? Then connective tissues. What is meant by connective tissues? The tissues which connect one organ to another organ or one tissue system to another tissue system. This kind of tissue systems we can call them as connective tissue systems. For example, if you take two bones, so at the knee there is a combination of two bones, no, two joints are joined together, no? So these two bones, they are connected by one tissue which is called as connective tissue, and it is called as ligament. What you call that one? No? You call it as ligament and tendons. So all them they can come under connective tissues. Then we have muscular tissues. What is meant by muscular tissues? The tissues of which muscles are made up of, they are called as muscular tissues. And neural tissues, the tissues, the cells from which neurons they are made up of, that is the neural system is there, no, inside the human body. So the total neural system is made up of neural tissues. So basically all these tissues we are divided them into four types. One is epithelial, second one is connective, third one is called as muscular, and the fourth one is called as neural tissue. Clear, ma? So first one we will study about epithelial tissue, which is also called as epithelium also. We can call it as epithelium also. So what is meant by epithelial tissues, ma? It has a free surface that faces body fluid or outside environment. Are you able to understand, ma? So it is a free surface means what? On that surface there is no other surface. Okay? It is an open surface through which body fluid will flow. Body fluid means what? Water, blood, all this called as a body fluid, no, ma? So this body fluid flows through this free surface, and that layer of cells we can call them as epithelial tissues. Clear? So, and in another region where you can find this epithelial tissues, it is found in the covering of the body parts also. So it covers or lines the body parts also. There also you will find the epithelial tissues. For example, skin is an outer covering, no, ma? Skin is what? Skin is a covering only, no? So total skin will be made up of what kind of cells? Epithelial cells. Are you able to understand? Similarly, all the cells which are present in the inside layers of what you call veins, arteries, they are also made up of epithelial cells. Clear, no? So cells are compactly packed with little intercellular matrix. What is meant by intercellular matrix, ma? Already we have studied previously one time. Intercellular matrix means what? This is the substance which is present in between two cells. Are you able to understand, ma? The material which is present between two cells is called as intercellular matrix, and most of the time it will be dead matter itself. Are you able to understand? That matter which is present between the cells, which is called as intercellular matrix. So these epithelial cells, they are compactly packed, and in between the cells you will find the intercellular matrix. Clear? Next, these epithelial tissues, we can again divide them into two types. One is simple, and the second one is called complex. Simple means what? It is made up of only one layer of cells. Complex means what? It is made up of many layer of cells. Are you able to understand? For example, skin. It is not made up of single layer, no, it is made up of many layers of cells. Are you able to understand? But the cells which you find in the inner layers of arteries and veins, they are made up of a single layer. Are you able to understand? So epithelial tissues, they can be single layered also, they can be multi-layered also. So they can, you can call them as simple or you can call them as compound. Single layer or you can call them as multi-layered. Are you able to understand, ma? So then again this simple epithelium. Epithelium we have divided into two types now. One is simple, another one is compound. Simple epithelium again I can divide into three types. What are they? One is squamous epithelium, second one is called as cuboidal epithelium, and the third one is called as columnar epithelium. Based on the size, shape and arrangement, simple epithelium, that is single layered cells. Again we can divide them into three types. Squamous, second one is cuboidal, and the next one is called as columnar. Okay, so simple epithelium made up of single layer of cells. Already we have studied, it lines the body cavities, ducts and tubes. Ducts means what? Ducts means, so in human body we have two types of glands, Nama. Glands which are having ducts and glands which are not having ducts. Ducts means what? Some pipes through which hormones will be released into the body, that is called as duct. So glands are there with ducts, glands are there without ducts also. So these pipes also, the ducts, pipes of these ducts also, they are made up of epithelium only, simple epithelium. Are you able to understand, ma? And tubes. Tubes means what? Arteries, veins, all there are tubes only. No? So all of them, they are made up of simple epithelium. So based on a structural modification of cells, it means what is the shape of the cells, what is the arrangement of the cells. Again, this simple epithelium, we are dividing into three types. Squamous, second one is cuboidal, third one is called as columnar. Okay, ma? So this is the first one, which is called as squamous. Okay. Second one is called as cuboidal. So cells, they are arranged in the shape of cubes, no ma? So that is why it is called as cuboidal. And the third one is called as columnar. So they are arranged in columns, no? What is the arrangement? See, they are arranged in the form of columns. They are elongated cells which are arranged in the form of columns. That is why they are called as columnar. Clear, no? So then we will study about squamous epithelium. So what is squamous epithelium? It is one of the kind of simple epithelium. So you should not forget this sequence. Are you able to understand, ma? So see, first of all we are studying about squamous epithelium. So thin layer of flattened cells with irregular boundaries. It means these cells, they do not have a particular shape. They are shapeless. So that is why they are called as, they are having irregular boundaries. Squamous epithelium is single layered and it is having irregular boundaries. Doesn't have a particular boundary. So walls of blood vessels and lung alveoli, they are made up of this squamous epithelium. So where you find this simple type of squamous epithelium, you will find in walls of blood vessels. Blood vessels means what? Arteries as well as veins. And you will find in lung alveoli also. What is meant by lung alveoli? Alveolus is the singular form, nama. See, total lungs, it is made up of small air sacs, no? Small air sacs. And through these air sacs only, the diffusion of gases will take place. Are you able to understand, ma? Into these air sacs, when blood enters, then what happens? The exchange of carbon dioxide and exchange of oxygen will take place in the case of lung alveoli. Are you able to understand, ma? So this alveolus of this lungs also, it is made up of squamous epithelium. In the figure you can see here. Clear, no, ma? See here, you are seeing this inner layer, no, ma? This inner layer you are able to see, no? So this total inner layer, it is made up of what? It is made up of squamous epithelium. Are you able to understand? And this total figure, this is an alveoli. Are you able to understand? Or singular form you can call it as alveolus. So through this inner layers of this, what you call alveolus also, it is also made up of squamous epithelium. Single layer of simple tissues. Understood, no? That's it. So then we study about cuboidal epithelium. Cuboidal epithelium means what? All the cells, they are of which shape? Shape of the cells is in the form of cubes. That is why it is called as cuboidal epithelium. So composed of cube-like cells So where it is found, ma? It is found in the ducts of glands and tubular parts of nephrons. So ducts of glands. We have glands which are having ducts, no? Pipes are there, no, ma? Through which secretions are released into the human body. So these ducts, they are completely made up of which kind of epithelium? Cuboidal epithelium. Okay, shape of the cells will be in the form of cubes. So that is why cuboidal epithelium. And tubular parts of nephrons. Where you find nephrons? Nephrons you find in kidneys, no, ma? So in the nephrons, you will find some tubes, tubular regions. So wherever you find tubular regions, all these tubular regions also, they are made up of cuboidal epithelium. That means cells, they are in the shape of cubes. Clear, no, ma? So one is glands of ducts, another one is tubular parts of nephrons. So what is the function of this, what you call cuboidal epithelium? Secretion and absorption. They will secrete the body fluids also, and they will absorb the body fluids also. That is the function of cuboidal epithelium. Are you able to understand? What was the first one? First one was irregular epithelium, no? Are you able to understand, ma? And where it was present? It was present in veins and arteries, and it was present in alveolus. And what was the function of those cells? So function of those cells was diffusion of gases. Are you able to understand? Here this cuboidal epithelium, what it is doing? It is responsible for secretion as well as absorption. So these functions you should not forget. Okay. So epithelium of proximal convoluted tubule of nephron has microvilli. Microvilli means what, ma? Small hair-like structures are called as microvillis. Are you able to understand? So I will write here. So hair-like structures, what you call them? You can call them as microvillis. So where you find this microvillis, ma? Microvillis you will find in nephrons, and in nephrons where you will find in PCT. What is meant by PCT? PCT is called as proximal convoluted tubule. Okay, ma? In nephrons you will have Bowman's capsule. No? In nephrons you will find a region which is called as Bowman's capsule. So above this Bowman's capsule you can find this PCT. In the study of nephrons you will study all of this. Are you able to understand, ma? So the inner regions of this PCT, it contains microvilli, and all these inner regions, they are made up of which kind of epithelium? Cuboidal epithelium. Is it clear, ma? That's it. So in the figure you can find here. Okay. So you are seeing this microvillis, no? Small hair-like structures you are seeing in the nephrons, no, ma? So that small hair-like structures, these structures, these small hair-like structures you can find in PCT. Clear? And they are made up of what kind of cells? Cuboidal cells. So the next type of simple epithelium cells are columnar. Okay. So let us see what is meant by columnar. So composed of tall and slender cells. So what is the structure of this columnar cells, ma? So they are tall cells and they are arranged in the form of columns. That is why they are called as tall and slender cells. So their nuclei are located at the base. So each cell will have a nucleus, no, ma? Each cell will be having nucleus. So where is the arrangement of this nucleus? This nucleus is arranged at the base of this cells. So this is one important point. Clear, no? So free surface may have microvilli. So it means that in cuboidal cells also you can find microvilli. In columnar cells also you can find microvilli. Here also you can find microvilli. So found in a lining of stomach and intestine. Stomach is a region where body fluids will flow, no, ma? In stomach also you will have body fluids, no? So many enzymes, many hormones, many digestive acidic juices, they will also be present. So these inner layers of stomach as well as intestine also, they are made up of simple epithelium. And what kind of simple epithelium? Columnar simple epithelium. Clear, no? And again, what is their function, ma? Function of this columnar also, it is also secretion as well as absorption. Clear? That's it. Okay. So next, modification of columnar or cuboidal cells. Okay. So the second one and third one of simple epithelium cells, they are what? One is cuboidal, second one is columnar. So these columnar and cuboidal cells, they will be modified into two types. Are you able to understand? One is ciliated epithelium and the second one is called as glandular epithelium. I think somewhere he mentioned here. So that slide is missing. Are you able to understand? So therefore here what we write, so columnar one minute. Okay, ma. So columnar and cuboidal epithelium are modified into two types. What is the first one? First one is called as ciliated epithelium and the second one is called as glandular epithelium. Are you able to understand, ma? So which of them they are modified? One is columnar and the second one is cuboidal. They are again, they can be modified into two types. One is ciliated epithelium, second one is glandular epithelium. What is meant by ciliated epithelium, ma? When microvilli is present, then it is called as ciliated. That's all. Cilia means what? Small hair-like structures is called as cilia. Are you able to understand, ma? So if microvillis, if they are present, then they are called as ciliated columnar or ciliated. Clear, ma? One is ciliated epithelium means microvilli should be present. G5. Okay, got it. Okay, ma? And the second one is called as what, ma? Second one is called as glandular epithelium. Glandular epithelium means what? Epithelium of which glands they are made up of. There are many glands in the human body, no, ma? So all these glands also, they are made up of columnar and cuboidal epithelium. Now let us see. Okay, ma? So first one, ciliated epithelium. So where you find the ciliated epithelium, ma? In columnar as well as cuboidal. That you should not forget. So cells bear cilia on their free surface. Cilia means hair-like structures are called as cilia. So present in the inner surface of hollow organs like bronchioles and fallopian tubes. Okay. So fallopian tubes where you will find them in the female reproductive system. In the female reproductive system, these fallopian tubules are present. And in this fallopian tubules also you can find ciliated epithelium. Epithelium where small microvilli will be present, and bronchioles also. Bronchioles where they are present, bronchioles are present inside the lungs. Are you able to understand, ma? So function, what is the function of this ciliated epithelium? To move particles or mucus in a specified direction over the epithelium. So to move the different particles and mucus. Mucus means a saliva kind of structure. To move them in one particular direction, these hair-like structures, they are responsible. Are you able to understand? That's it. So the next kind of modified epithelium is called as glandular epithelium. What is meant by glandular epithelium? It is again divided into two types and is responsible for secretion. All the glands, what they do, they secrete only, no? They secrete different body fluids and they secrete hormones. Clear, no? So unicellular. Unicellular means what? Isolated glandular cells are present. And example is what, ma? Goblet cells of the alimentary canal. So in the alimentary canal, okay, ma? In the alimentary canal, we have a specialized cells which is called as goblet cells. And these goblet cells, they are made up of what? They are made up of glandular epithelium. And they are unicellular. Unicellular means what, ma? Just a single layer of cells will be present. Clear? Multicellular. Multicellular consists of cluster of cells. A group of cells is present. Example is what? Salivary glands. Clear, no? So goblet cells as well as salivary glands, they are made up of glandular epithelium in simple tissues. And glandular epithelium is a part of modified columnar or modified cuboidal cells. Clear, no, ma? So goblet cells, they are unicellular in elementary canal. Salivary glands, they are multicellular. Are able to understand, ma? So this is one important point. So then glandular epithelium, some more information he is giving. So based on the mode of pouring of their secretions, glands are of two types. So glands, they will secrete the secretions, no ma? How these secretions they are released into the body, based on that again glandular epithelium we can divide into two types. One is exocrine, second one is called as endocrine. What is meant by exocrine? Exocrine means the secretions which are released by these glands, they are released into the body through some pipes. Pipes are present here. And these pipes, they are called as ducts. Ducts are present. Are able to understand more? Such glands, what we call them as? We call them as exocrine glands. Example is what? Mucus, saliva. Saliva is released in our body, no? Salivary glands are present, no? And salivary glands, they release the saliva through some tubes, which are called as ducts. Clear, no? Ear wax, the wax which is produced in the ear, they are also having ducts. Oil produced. In the skin, you will find oil, no? Oil is also produced through ducts only. It is released through ducts. Milk is also produced through tubes, pipes, and digestive enzymes. Clear, no? Whereas endocrine glands, they are also called as ductless glands. They do not have any ducts. Are able to understand, ma? And all the hormones produced in the body, they are ductless. Are able to understand? For example, you have a very important gland in human body called pituitary gland. No, ma? Pituitary gland, is it an exocrine gland or an endocrine gland? It is an endocrine gland. It doesn't have any duct. Okay, ma? So based on how secretions are released into the body, we are dividing the glands into two types. One is exocrine and another one is called as endocrine. And all these layers of cells of these glands, they are made up of what kind of cells, what kind of tissues? Epithelial tissues. Okay, ma? And especially these glands, they are made up of what kind of epithelial tissues? Simple epithelial. And in simple epithelial, again, what is the type of tissues? Columnar and cuboidal. So all this sequence you should remember. Fine? Okay. Then we are studying about, now until now we have studied about a simple epithelium, no? And in simple epithelium we have studied about squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium. Now we are studying about compound epithelium. Clear? So composed of multi-layered cells. Compound, that is the meaning of compound, no? Single layer is called as simple epithelium. Multiple layers, they are called as compound epithelium. Clear? So limited role in secretion and absorption. This is one important point. So all the single layered cells, they were responsible for exchange of gases, they were responsible for secretion, they were responsible for absorption. But multi-layered cells, they are not very much helpful in secretion as well as absorption. అందులో secretions absorptions పెద్దగా జరగవు. Clear, nama? So let us see where they are present, where we find this compound epithelium. Dry surface of skin. Clear, nama? Moist surface of buccal cavity. Buccal cavity means what? So when you open your mouth, at the top you will find one hard surface, nama? So all that hard surfaces you can call them as buccal cavity. So total buccal cavity, is it a single layer or many layers? Many layers are present. So that is why they are called as compound epithelium. Skin is also made up of compound epithelium. Clear, nama? Pharynx is also compound. Inner lining of ducts of salivary glands and pancreatic ducts. Are able to understand, ma? So inner lining of ducts and salivary glands also, and pancreatic ducts also, you will find the compound epithelium. Inner layers we are discussing. Inner layers, they are made up of compound epithelium. Clear, nama? So functions, what is the function? Protection against chemical and mechanical stresses. So this is the function of compound epithelium. Okay, ma? So they are not responsible for secretion or they are not responsible for absorption. Only to protect the body against mechanical and chemical stresses only this compound epithelium will be present. Ante body ki support ivvadaniki ante. They are not responsible for secretion. They are not responsible for absorption. Clear, nama? That's it. Okay. So see here, So this is the surface of the skin, which is made up of many layers of cells. Clear? Next, cell junctions. What is meant by cell junction, Sima? Between two cells, definitely there should be some joining agent. No? There should be some agent which is keeping two cells at one place. Okay. If there is no, for example, how water is present at one region, water has cohesive forces, no, between one water molecule and another water molecule. Cohesive forces are there. That is why water is maintaining its particular size. Are you able to understand? It is maintaining its volume. Similarly, for body also to maintain its shape and size, between two cells there should be some joinings, and these joinings only we can call them as cell junctions. Clear? So these are the junctions that provide structural and functional links between adjoint cells. It means to maintain the structure, these cell junctions are responsible. To perform different functions also, these junctions they should be present. Clear, Nama? So cell junctions again we are dividing into how many types? One is a tight junctions, second one is adhering junctions, and the third one is called as gap junctions. So tight, adhering, and gap junctions. So here you can find in the figure, so this is how gap junction appears like, and this is how tight junction appears like, and this is how adhering or adherence junction appears like. Are you able to understand? Now let us see what is the function of each of them. So tight junctions. Why tight junctions are responsible? What is the function of tight junctions? Help stop substances from leaking across a tissue. Okay, so many body fluids and other materials they are present in cells, no? So these tight junctions they prevent the leakage of these materials from the cells and across the tissues. That is the function of tight junctions. Are you able to understand? So adhering junctions. What is the function of adhering junctions? They perform cementing to keep neighboring cells together. So one cell should be present beside another cell. So these cells they are cemented. Cemented means what? They are joined with each other so that cells are present side by side. That is structure, shape is maintained because of adhering junctions. Who maintains the shape of an organism or shape of human body? These junctions are responsible. Adhering junctions. Are you able to understand? మీ ముక్కులో అడ్హరింగ్ జంక్షన్స్ లేవు అనుకోండి, ముక్కు ఇలా ఏలబడతా ఉంటుంది అన్నమాట. So only because of adhering junctions only body is able to maintain its shape. Clear? Next, gap junctions. What these gap junctions are doing, ma? These junctions they are responsible for communication between one cell and the other cell. Human body, it is a very complex structure, no, ma? Very complex. So definitely there must be communication between one cell and another cell. Then only human body can perform as a whole. Are you able to understand? For your hand to operate like this, there are many chemical reactions and electrical functions which are going on. Okay, so for your hand to operate, definitely there should be what you call communication between one cell and another cell. That communication is provided by which junction, ma? Gap junction. So facilitate the cells to communicate with each other by connecting the cytoplasm of adjoining cells for a rapid transfer of ions, small molecules, and big molecules. Are you able to understand? So for communication purpose, these gap junctions they are present. So Sima, in this figure you can see here, this is the gap junction. This is the gap junction. So what this gap junction is doing here? Gap junction, it is connecting the cytoplasm of two cells. You know what is meant by cytoplasm? The living matter which is present inside the cell is called as cytoplasm. That cytoplasm is connected by gap junctions. Clear? So this completes our first type of tissues which is called as epithelial tissues. Clear, Nama? And the second tissue, connective tissue, third tissue, muscular tissue, fourth tissue, neural tissue, we will study in the next class. Okay? So we have studied that totally there are four types of tissues, Nama. So first one we have studied about epithelial tissues. And the second one, now we are studying about connective tissues. Clear? So, what is the function of connective tissues? పేర్లోనే ఉంది కదా, connective tissue means what? It is responsible for connections between different types of tissues or different types of cells. This is called as connective tissue. Clear, Nama? So, 1 minute. Okay. So therefore, let us see what are the important points about the connective tissues. So it links and supports other tissues and organs, and it is the most abundant in the case of complex animals. So in all the four tissues, which is the most abundant tissues? Most abundant tissues is connective tissues itself. Okay. So all connective tissues except blood, they have fibroblast. So this is one important point which you should remember. So all the types of connective tissues except blood. Blood is also a connective tissue. It is also responsible for connecting different body parts. So blood doesn't have fibroblast. Are you able to understand? So this fibroblast is a type of cell which is helpful in healing of wounds also. So when we get wounds on our body, so this fibroblast cells, they are responsible for healing the wounds also. And what is their main function? Main function is they secrete fibrous proteins called collagen and elastin. So these fibrous cells, what they will do? They will produce these materials called collagen and elastin. And what is the use of this collagen and elastin? So they are responsible for giving flexibility and strength to other tissues. Are you able to understand? So giving strength, elasticity and flexibility. So this is the use of this collagen and elastin. Who produces this collagen and elastin? Who produces fibroblast cells. So where this fibroblast cells is absent, in blood is absent, in remaining all the connective tissues you can find it. Clear, Nama? So the cells also secrete modified polysaccharides, which is also called matrix, which accumulate between the cells and the fibers. Clear, Nama? So in between the cells, there will be a material which fills the gap between two cells, Nama. For example, if these are the cells, clear, no? In between the cells, you will find what? You will find a matrix which is present, no? And what is this matrix called as? This matrix is called as intercellular matrix. Are you able to understand? So therefore, these cells, they produce these polysaccharides also. And what is meant by polysaccharides? Carbohydrates are nothing but polysaccharides. Are you able to understand? And these get accumulated between the cells as well as the fibers. So these are the functions of these connective tissues. Okay. So they produce fibroblast cells, and fibroblast cells, what they will do? So they will produce collagen and elastin, which is responsible for providing mechanical strength and flexibility to the tissues, and they also produce polysaccharides which function as intercellular matrix. Understood, Nama? That's it. So next, so these connective tissues, again we can divide them into three types. What are they? First one is called as loose connective tissue. Second one is called as dense connective tissue. And the third one is called as specialized connective tissue. So connective tissues, again we are dividing them into three types: loose, dense and specialized connective tissues. So these loose connective tissues, again we are dividing them into two types. One is areolar, second one is adipose. And the dense connective tissues we are dividing again into two types: dense regular and dense irregular. Specialized connective tissues we are dividing them into three types: cartilages, bone and blood. Okay, ma? So this classification is very easy to understand, ma, and you are supposed to by heart all of them. Are you able to understand? So loose connective tissue is divided into how many types? Two types, areolar and adipose. Clear, ma? And dense connective tissue is divided into dense regular and dense irregular. And specialized connective tissue, it is divided into cartilage, bone as well as blood. So these are the points, and see in the figures also you can see, ma. So this is how this areolar tissue appears like. This is how adipose tissue appears like, and this adipose tissue is the tissue which is responsible for storing fat. Clear, nama? And dense regular, it means there will be a regular arrangement of these fibrous cells. And dense irregular, it means there will be a irregular arrangement of these fibers or cells. Are you able to understand? And cartilages, we know cartilages, no? The muscle, the bony part which is present in the ears and in the vertebral column also you can find this cartilage. Okay, ma? A smooth material, but it is uncompressible material. And you know bone. Bones are made up of bone cells, and blood is made up of different types. Are you able to understand, ma? So these are the different types of connective tissues which we have. Now let us study each of them in detail. So loose connective tissues. So in these cells, you will have fibroblast. So this is very important concept, ma, where you find what you find in this loose connective tissues. What you find, ma? You will find a fibroblast. And what is the purpose of fibroblast? Already we have studied, no? So they are responsible for producing collagen and elastin, and they will give strength and what you call flexibility to the tissues. Clear, no? That is the function of fibroblast. Macrophages. What is the purpose of macrophages? So these are the cells which are responsible for your developing of the immune system. Okay, ma? What is the function of macrophages, ma? Responsible for development of immune system. So whatever bacteria or other harmful microorganisms, when they enter into your body, these macrophages will fight with them and they will protect your body. Are you able to understand, ma? So here I have written. So obstruction of bacteria and other harmful organisms is the function of macrophages. And similarly, mast cells are also produced. Mast cells. So these mast cells, they contain histamine, they contain heparin, and they are also a part of neuroimmune system. So make a note of those points. Clear, no, ma? So NCERT lo leni points anta meeru raskuntu vellali. Are you able to understand? So therefore, so loose connective tissues produce what kind of cells? They will produce a fibroblast, they will produce macrophages, and they will produce mast cells. Macrophages are responsible for what? For protection against harmful organisms, bacteria, virus, whatever it may be. And mast cells, they are also a part of neuroimmune system, and they will produce which kind of chemicals? They will produce histamine and heparin. Understood, Noma? That's it. So these fibers are loosely arranged in a semi-fluid matrix. What is meant by semi-fluid matrix, ma? Semi-fluid matrix means what? So the matrix, the intercellular matrix, that is what we call matrix, no, ma? So the material which is present in the gaps between the cells, that is called as intercellular matrix. And here what kind of intercellular matrix is there? Semi-fluid. It means it is not a solid also, it is not a liquid also, it is in between. So that is why it is called as a semi-fluid. Are you able to understand? And this loose connective tissue, again we are dividing them into how many types? Two types, areolar, and the second one is called as adipose. Now let us see what is the function of this areolar as well as adipose. If you ask what is the function of macrophages, what is the function of mast cells? Clear, Nama? Now let us see. So areolar tissue. So in the figure you are able to see this areolar tissue, Nama. So these are the different parts which are present in this areolar tissue. Clear? So this structure, this is how this macrophage appears like, which is responsible for protection against harmful organisms. Clear, ma? And this is the fibroblast. So this here green color layer which you are seeing, no, ma? So this green color layer is called as fibroblast. And fibroblast produces what? Fibroblast produces collagen fibers. So these are the collagen fibers which will give strength to the tissues. Are you able to understand, ma? And here you can find the mast cells which produces histamine and heparin, which is a part of neuroimmune system. Are you able to understand? So these are the different parts which are present in this areolar tissue. Now where it is present, ma? Areolar tissue, it is present beneath the skin. Just below the skin you can find this areolar tissue. Clear? So it supports as a framework for epithelium. And what is meant by epithelium? Epithelium means skin is made up of what? Skin is made up of epithelium. The outermost layer is called as epithelium, no? Outermost layer of the skin or body parts is also called as epithelium. And epithelium is also called as the inner layers of the ducts as well as tubes also. What is meant by tubes? Tubes means what? Veins and arteries. Veins and arteries, inner layers, they are made up of epithelium. Are you able to understand, ma? Similarly, inside the lungs also, the air sacs of the lungs also, they are made up of what? They are also made up of epithelium. Okay. So, for the case of skin, so below the epithelium, you can find this areolar tissue. So, this is one very important point which you should remember. Clear, Nama? So, then we study about adipose tissue. So, this is how the figure of this adipose tissue appears like, ma. And what is the function of adipose tissue? Main function of adipose tissue is to store the fats. They are responsible for storing the fats. Sima, you know that fat is stored below the skin only, no? Are you able to understand, ma? Mostly fat is stored below the skin only. And if fat increases beyond a certain value, ఒక లిమిట్ కన్నా మీరు ఇంతున్నారు అనుకోండి, then it will go and store in liver also, it will go and store in your knees also. Are able to understand, ma? But mostly, primarily, for a healthy person, fat is stored below the skin itself. Okay. So these adipose tissues, they are seen mainly below the epithelial tissues or below the skin. Clear, no, ma? So its cells, what is the name of these cells called as? They are called as adipocytes. So these are the name of the cells which store the fats. So excess nutrients are converted into fats and stored in this tissue. So for example, if you are taking, you require how many calories per day? Around 2000 to 2000 calories you require, Nama. If you are eating food of 10,000 calories, then what will happen? Remaining 8,000 calories is converted into fats. That's it. So this is how this layers, they appear like, ma. So these are the adipocytes which contain the adipose cells, and this is the fat storage area where fat is stored, and you will find a nucleus and there is a plasma membrane. So this is the construction of adipose cell, or you can call it as adipocyte. Okay. And a group of this adipocyte cells, they are called as adipose tissues. Okay. So then we are studying about dense connective tissue. Okay, ma? And in dense connective tissue, again we have divided it into two types, no? Dense regular and dense irregular. So here fibers and fibroblasts are compactly packed here. Are you able to understand, ma? What is meant by fiber? Group of cells is called as fiber. And what is meant by fibroblast? So these cells which are responsible for producing collagen and elastin. So these cells, they are compactly packed. Compactly packed means they are very tightly packed. There is no gap between them. That is called as compactly packed. Clear, no? So what are the two cells which are compactly packed? One is fiber cells and the second one is fibroblast cells. So these cells, they are compactly packed in the dense connective tissue. And two types. One is dense regular, second one is dense irregular. In the figure also you can see, Nama. So there is some regularity in this figure. There is no regularity in this figure. Clear, Nama? So that's it. So dense connective tissue, and in dense connective tissue we are studying about dense regular tissue. So what is meant by dense regular, ma? They show a regular pattern of fibers. So collagen fibers are present in rows between many parallel bundle of fibers. Are you able to understand ma? Fibers means what? The cells of which dense regular cells they are made up of. So in between these fibers, what you find, you will find again this supporting fibers. What is meant by supporting fibers? Collagen fibers and elastin fibers. Who produce these collagen fibers? Fibroblast produce this collagen fibers. Are you able to understand ma? It means you will find a layer of cells, and below the layer and above the layer of this fibers you will find this collagen fibers, and again you will find a layer of fibers, again you will find a layer of collagen fibers. So like this an alternate arrangement of fibers will be present in this dense regular tissues. Clear Nama? So examples of this dense regular tissues are tendons as well as ligaments. So these are the examples. Okay, are you able to understand ma? Tendons as well as ligaments. What is meant by tendons? That we will see in the next. Tendons means it is responsible for attaching the muscles to the bone. That is called as a tendon. Ligaments means what? So a muscle which connects two bones is called as a ligament. Are you able to understand? Ma? So you in tendons and ligaments you will find this dense regular type of connective tissue. Okay. So what is meant by tendons and ligaments? It is given here. You can see here. Tendons means what? They attached the skeletal muscles to bones. Muscles they must be attached to the bones, no ma? Okay. So this attachment is provided by the tendons. And what ligaments will do? Ligaments will join two bones. For example, our knee is a combination of two bones, no ma? Lower bone and then thigh bone. Are you able to understand? So these two bones they are joined by what? They are joined by these fibers which is called as ligaments. So that is why they are called as connective tissues. Are you able to understand? That's it. So in the figures you can see ma, here this is a tendon which connects the muscles to the bone, and this figure you can call it as a ligament. So what ligament is doing? Ligament is connecting two bones. Clear? So then we are studying about dense irregular type of connective tissues. So irregular pattern of fibroblast and fibers. So there is no regular pattern here. So there is irregular pattern and mostly it is made up of collagen. So fibroblasts are mostly collagen secreting fibroblast. And where you can find them in the skin. Connective tissues of the skin is made up of dense irregular type of connective tissues. Clear? So in the figure you can see ma. So this is a collagen fiber. So because of this collagen fiber only, shape and size of the body parts is maintained. And this is a fibroblast cell. Okay ma? So this fibroblast cell, it will produce collagen as well as elastin. Fine? That's it. So then we study about specialized connective tissue. Okay ma? So in the specialized connective tissue we have three types no ma? One is cartilage, second one is bone, and the third one is the blood. So first one we are studying about the cartilage. Clear? So let us try to understand what is meant by cartilage. So in this intercellular material, what is meant by intercellular material ma? The material which is present in between two cartilage cells or in between many cartilage cells. Cartilage is made up of what? Cartilage is made up of cartilage cells ma. And in the gap present in between these cartilage cells, you will find an intercellular material which is solid, but it is liable. What is meant by liable? You can bend it very easily. Are you able to understand me? It is flexible. For example, our ear and nose, they are made up of cartilage, no? They are not made up of bones, they are made up of cartilage. Okay, cartilage cells are present, and in between the cartilage cells you will find a solid matrix, intercellular matrix, which is solid, uncompressible, but it is liable. Liable means it has elastic properties. Are you able to understand? It can be what you call bent, it can be flexible also. That is the nature of the intercellular matrix. That is why you can bend your ears, no? That's it. So due to presence of what? Due to presence of chondroitin salts. And chondroitin salts, they are called as a chondroitin sulfate. What is the chemical name of this salt? It is a chondroitin sulfate. Clear? And what does it does? It resists the compression. What is meant by it resist compression? You cannot compress this cartilage. You cannot compress, but you can bend it. Are you able to understand? So that is the nature of this cartilage. So cartilage cells, chondrocytes, are enclosed in small cavities within the matrix secreted by them. So that is the meaning of what we have just studied, Noma. Surrounding all the cartilage cells, you will find intercellular matrix. So most of the cartilage in vertebrate embryos are replaced by bones in the adults. It means in the earlier stages, vertebrate embryos means what? Embryos which has an or which develop into vertebrate type of animals. So in them, cartilage is mostly replaced by bones. It means in the earlier stages, most of the body it will be made up of cartilage, but in the adult stage, finally it will be made up of bones. Clear now? So now see the presence of this cartilage. It is present in the tip of the nose, outer ear, joints in the vertebral column, limbs as well as hands in the case of adults. So in all these regions, you will find this cartilage. So this is an important bit. What is the presence of cartilage? Where it is present? Tip of the nose, clear ma? At the starting point of the nose. Outer ear. Outer ear means what? Actually, there will be two ears, my inner ear and outer ear. We hear with the help of inner ear. We don't hear with the help of outer ear. Outer ear is made up of cartilage. So joints in the vertebral column. So we have vertebral column number. So in that vertebral column also, the joints they are made up of cartilage. Limbs and hands in the case of adults. Clear? That's it. Now what is meant by liable and what is meant by chondroitin I have written here. So you can study it. Clear Nama? Then next we are studying about bone. So just like cartilage, bone is also similar. In cartilage you will find cartilage cells, and cartilage cells they are connected by some matrix which is flexible and it is uncompressible. But here in the case of bones, it is made up of bone cells. Bone cells are present, but bone cells they are surrounded by an intercellular matrix which is not liable. You cannot bend it. That is not flexible. Are you able to understand ma? Bones ni bend cheyagలుగుతారా మీరు? చేయలేరు. ఎందుకని? Because the matrix, the fluid, or you can call the filling material between the cells of these bones, it is not liable. That is the only difference between bone and a cartilage. So cartilage is also uncompressible, bone is also uncompressible. But cartilage is bendable, bone is not bendable. That is the only difference. Clear Nama? So it has a hard and non-pliable matrix which is rich in calcium. Cartilage was rich in chondroitin. Cartilage was rich in chondroitin. But bones or intercellular matrix in the bones is rich in calcium. They are rich in calcium. And collagen fibers which gives bone its strength. So bone cells they are called as what? Osteocytes. Are you able to understand ma? Bone cells, what is the name given to the bone cells ma? Osteocytes. What is the name given to the cartilage cells? Chondrocytes. But here it is called as osteocytes, are seen in the spaces called lacunae. Clear ma? This is one important bit here. So bone cells, where you will find bone cells, you will find in spaces. And what is that name of the space ma? That is called as lacunae. And surrounding these bone cells you will have an intercellular matrix. That's it. Clear now? So functions. What is the function of a bone ma? It provides a structural framework to the body. What is meant by structural frame? Structural frame ante shape of the body. మీ బాడీ షేప్ అలా ఉందంటే మీ బోన్స్ అలా ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి. Are you able to understand ma? Because your bones are standing straight, you are also standing straight. Clear? So shape of the body is provided by the bone. So it supports and protects softer tissues as well as organs. For example, we have vertebral column no. So vertebral column, what it will do, it will protect all the visceral organs. So your lungs, your kidneys, your heart, all of them, they are protected by bones itself, no? So they are responsible for protection also. So limb bones serve weight bearing functions. Limb bones means bones of your legs. So they are bearing the total weight of your body also, no? So that is their function. So they take part in locomotion and movements also. So blood cells are produced in the bone marrow. This already you know, Nama. Inside the bone there will be hollow cavity, and inside the hollow cavity you will find bone marrow. And in bone marrow only you will find RBC cells to be produced. Are you able to understand? Which has a lifespan of 120 days. So after 120 days, these RBC cells, they are going to be destroyed. Then again new cells will be developed inside this bone marrow. So this is the function of the bone. Clear, no? So here you can find in the figure. So articular cartilage is present. So there is a small layer around this bone which is soft, and this layer is called as articular cartilage. Are you able to understand, ma? And red bone marrow, so epiphyseal line, clear, nama? Marrow cavity is present and yellow bone marrow is present. So these are the different parts which are present in the bone. Not important, just for your understanding. Clear, ma? Okay. So next we study about the next connective tissues, which is called as specialized connective tissues. Are able to, sorry, in the same specialized connective tissues we are studying about blood. Okay. So a fluid connective tissue containing plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets. So all this combinedly you can call it as a blood aroma. What is meant by plasma? Plasma is a liquid in which all these organelles, they are floating. Able to understand, ma? So RBCs, they are floating, WBCs, they are floating, platelets also, they are floating, and all of these organelles, they are being carried out with the help of a liquid, or this is also a semi-fluid type of substance which is called as plasma. Clear, nama? So helps in circulation of various substances. So already we studied know what are the functions of the blood. Are able to understand, no? For carrying the different substances, this blood is very important. Now see what are the different organelles which are present, ma? RBCs. So this is the structure of RBCs, ma? So it will be like a plate-like structure with a small cavity. Clear, no? And this is the structure of WBC, white blood corpuscles, and this is the shape of the platelets, blood platelets which are present. And in the figure you can see the different organelles which are present, ma? RBC, neutrophils are present, lymphocytes are present, monocytes are present, basophils are present, platelets. Are you able to understand? So these are the different organelles present in the blood. Okay. So this is completed our connective tissues. Then we are studying about the next tissue which is called as muscle tissue or muscular tissue. Clear, ma? So therefore here these tissues, they are made up of muscle fibers, or you can call them as muscle cells. Are you able to understand, ma? So all the muscles present in the body, they are made up of muscle cells, no, ma? Clear, no? Any tissue, always it is a group of cells only. Clear? But the most important point in the case of this muscle tissues is these muscle cells, they are cylindrical in shape. ఈ మజిల్ సెల్స్ షేప్ ఎలా ఉంటుంది? సిలిండర్ ఫామ్ లో ఉంటుంది. దే విల్ బి ఇన్ ద షేప్ ఆఫ్ సిలిండర్స్. ఓకే. సో ఇన్ ద ఫిగర్ ఆల్సో యూ కెన్ ఫైండ్ నోమా cylindrical structure is present. Okay. So muscles are made up of tubular cells. Tubular cells means they are in the shape of tubes. Clear, no? Tubes are in the shape of cylinders. Clear? Tubular cells called muscle fibers, and they are called also called as myocytes. Are you able to understand, ma? So muscle cells also you can call them as myocytes. So write that point in your books. Myocytes. Clear, no? So they are cylindrical in shape, or you can call them as they are tubular in shape. They are in the shape of tubes. So muscles ante telusu kada, bicep. ఇలా అన్నట్టు కండ వస్తుంది చూడండి, అవన్నీ మజిల్ ఫైబర్స్. సో దే ఆర్ మేడ్ అప్ ఆఫ్ cylindrical cells. So muscle fibers are composed of numerous fine myofibrils. Are you able to understand, ma? So here this muscle fiber you are seeing, no ma, this is one cell, ma. This muscle fiber is one cell of a muscle. And what is the shape of this cell? Cylinder. And this cylinder is again made up of many cylinders. And what is those cylinders? They are called as myofibrils. Are you able to understand the construction, ma? Inside the muscle cell you will find myofibrils. That is, inside the myocyte you will find myofibrils. See how many myofibrils are there? Many myofibrils you can find here, no ma? So this is one myofibril, another one, second, third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth, like this. So all these they are called as myofibrils, which are present inside myocytes. So muscle fibers can contract as well as relax also. That means they can reduce their length. They cannot elongate, but they can reduce their length, and they can go to their normal length also, which is called as relaxation. Are you able to understand? So muscles take part in locomotion and muscles take part in movement. Already we know, no ma? Muscles, they are responsible for locomotion also. They are responsible for movement also. They are responsible for performing different functions of day-to-day life also. Clear, ma? Okay. Then types of muscles. So muscles, again we can divide them into three types, or muscle tissues or muscle cells. We can divide them into three types. One is skeletal, which is also called as skeletal muscle, which is also called a striated voluntary muscle. What is meant by striated, ma? So write down here. Striated means what? Striated means an alternate dark and bright bands. If they are present, then it is called as a striated muscle. Okay, ma? So on the muscles you will find a dark color layer, then it is followed by a white color layer, dark color layer, white color layer. So this kind of layer, this kind of patches, if it is present, then it is called as striated. Okay. See ma, in the figure here you can see, see ma, these are the striations which are present. Striations. Striations means what? Here you are find a white color band, no? Then white color band is followed by a dark color band. Then again you have a white color band. Then it is again followed by a dark color band. So this type of bands, if they are present, then it is called as striations. Okay. So alternate dark and bright bands. Okay, ma? So therefore, what is the first type of muscular fiber, ma? Skeletal muscle, or you can call it as striated voluntary muscle. Second one is called as smooth or non-striated, or you can call it as visceral muscle. Okay, ma? Smooth muscle, or also you can call it as non-striated or visceral muscle. What is meant by visceral muscles? The muscles of which the smooth parts of the body parts they are made up of. Are you able to understand? So inside the kidneys also you will find this smooth non-striated muscles. Inside the heart also you will find, inside the lungs also you will find this smooth non-striated muscles. Clear, no ma? And the third type of muscles, they are called as cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles means what? Heart is made up of a special kind of muscle which is called as cardiac muscle. Are you able to understand? So these are the three types of muscles which we have. Skeletal muscle, which is voluntary. Smooth striated muscle, which is non-striated. Okay, ma? And the second one is called as cardiac muscle. Clear? Now let us study each of them in detail. The first muscle which we are studying is skeletal muscle, or you can call it as a striated muscle. So in the name only you can understand skeletal muscle, nama, it means all these muscles they are attached to your bones. All the muscles they are attached to your skeleton. That is why they are called as skeletal muscles. Clear? So they are attached to bones. Example is biceps. Okay, ma? Biceps, triceps. the bones which are connected to your what you call limbs, all of them they are called as skeletal muscles. Clear? So here you will find the striations. So in all the skeletal muscles you will find striations. Striations means what? Already we studied, no, dark and bright bands will be present on these muscles. So muscle fibers are bundled together in a parallel fashion. So this is one important bit here. So all these muscle fibers they are arranged parallelly. What is meant by parallel arrangement? So this is one muscle fiber, second one, third one, like this. So this kind of arrangement is called as parallel arrangement. So then a sheath of tough connective tissue encloses several bundles of muscle fibers. So all this group of muscle fibers, again it is being protected by another layer which is called as tough connective tissue. Are you able to understand, ma? So muscle tissues, they are a different kind of tissues. But muscle tissues, they are again supported by connective tissues. So already we studied that connective tissues are the tissues which are present majority in the human body. No? Out of all the tissues, which tissues are maximum? Connective tissues are maximum. Because human body it is able to maintain its shape and size only because of this connective tissues and bones only. Okay. So wherever it is necessary, connections are provided very beautifully. Clear, Nama? That's it. So therefore these muscle fibers, again they are connected by a layer of connective tissues. Clear? That's it. So this diagram, I don't think it is important. Okay, ma? So next see. So next we are studying about smooth non-striated or visceral muscles. Smooth muscles, or you can call them as non-striated, or you can call them as visceral muscles. Clear, Nama? So they are involuntary, ma, and fusiform. What is meant by fusiform? This fusiform already we studied somewhere in the plants also. In plants also we studied that tendons, they have tapering ends, no? Do you remember? Tendons, they have tapering ends. What is meant by tapering ends? So when you travel towards the end, so the end is very what you call in sharp nature. So these muscles, when they travel towards the end, they will become sharp. That type of nature is called as fusiform nature. Understood, Nama? So it means these fibers that taper at both ends. It means when you travel towards the end, they become more and more sharper. Are you able to understand, ma? So that is about involuntary muscle, or you can call them as fusiform also. So striations are absent. Okay. So cell junctions hold them together and they are bundled together in a connective tissue sheath. This also we can understand, Noma. Cell junctions, they are held together. Already we have studied, Noma. Inside the cell, we have three types of junctions. Are you able to understand? And these cell junctions, they hold the cells together. And again, they are connected by a layer of connective tissue. So they are seen in the walls of internal organs such as blood vessels, stomach, as well as intestine. So this is the most important point in this total slide. So where you can find this non-striated or visceral muscles, ma? In the walls of internal organs such as blood vessels. So walls of blood vessels. But inner layers of blood vessels, they are made up of what? Inner layers. Blood vessels ante evevi, veins as well as arteries. So the inner layers of veins and arteries, they are made up of epithelial cells. But to walls of these tubes, they are made up of these muscle tissues. Are you able to understand, ma? Or smooth and non-striated muscles. So stomach is also made up of visceral muscles. Intestines also, they are made up of what you called non-striated muscles. Clear, Doma? So next, the third type of muscle which we are seeing is called cardiac muscle. Okay, ma? So these are the involuntary muscles seen only in the heart. So these muscles you can find only in the case of heart only. So cell junctions fuse the plasma membranes of the cells and make them stick together. What is the meaning of this one? So one cell and another cell, they are being connected by junctions, no ma? So in the case of heart, so these junctions, they get fused up with each other. It means all the cells, they are connected by a very large layer. So మామూలుగా one cell and the next cell, they are connected by small region, no ma? చిన్న region, gap, చిన్న gap junction తో connect అయి ఉంటాయి. But here the size of the gap junction present in between the two cells of cardiac muscles, they are very 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 big. అర్థమవుతుంది కదా? So what is the point here? You have to write the gap junction, between two cells of heart is very large. Okay ma? Size of the gap junction is very large. So if size of the gap junction increases, what will happen? Most of the first cell and most of the second cell, they get fused up with each other. That is what will happen. ఇంతకుముందు చదివినా గుర్తుందమ్మా. For example, this is one cell and this is another cell. So they are connected by gap junctions. No? Are you able to understand? But in the case of cardiac muscles, what will happen? This gap junction is very large. Okay, ma? So once gap junction is very large, what will happen? The fusing of the cells will become Are able to understand, ma? So this gap junction, size of the gap junctions is very large, so that what will happen? Cell junctions fuse the plasma membrane of the cells and make these cells stick together. Understood, no ma? That's it. So communication junctions. Similarly, there is one more junction which is called as communication junction, gap junctions only. So these communication junctions allow the cells to contract as a unit. When one cell receives a signal to contract, its neighboring cells are also contracted. Are you able to understand, ma? So what is the advantage of this gap junctions, ma? What is the advantages of fusing all the cells? Advantage is that if one cell receives the signals to contract, then all the cells receive the same signal at the same time, and all of them, they will contract as a unit, and they will relax as a unit also. Are you able to understand? Clear, no ma? సెల్లులో హార్ట్లో ఒక్కొక్క సెల్ ఒక్కొక్కసారి కాంట్రాక్ట్ అవుతుందా? కాదు కదా, అంతా కలిపి ఒక యూనిట్ లాగా ఫంక్షన్ అవుతుంది. అండ్ హూ ఇస్ రెస్పాన్సిబుల్? The overlapping, or what you call the fusing of the cells, is responsible for that. It means cytoplasm of all the cells, it is interconnected, so that if one cell receives the signal, all the cells, they will receive the signal, and all of them, they will either contract or relax at the same time. So this is the advantage of these kind of muscles, which is called as cardiac muscles. Understood, Doma? That's it. So therefore, so this what you call this combination of cells, you can call it as intercalated disc. So this group of cells, what you call it as? You will call it as intercalated disc. So in the figure you can find here. So this is called as an intercalated disc. This region, this total region, you can call it as a intercalated disc. It means this is a group of many cells which are interconnected to each other with the help of gap junctions. Fine? That's it. Okay. So then we study about the last type of tissue, which is called as neural tissue. Are you able to understand? So total 4 tissues we have now, and this is the last one, which is called as neural tissue. There is no much information about this one in NCERT. We have a very small information about this. So it is made up of neurons. So total neural tissue is made up of what? It is made up of neurons. So unit of a neural system. So responsible for control and coordination of the body. So total human body, the contractions, the relaxations, everything is controlled by nerves. No? Are you able to understand? Ma? So this neural tissue is made up of neurons. So neurons are excitable cells and they carry impulses. What is meant by excitable cells, ma? So these cells, they have the ability to produce impulses. Impulses means what? Electrical impulses are produced in the human body. Are able to understand? మీకు ఒక చోట దెబ్బ తగిలింది అనుకోండి, సో అక్కడ నుంచి కంటిన్యూస్గా మీ బ్రెయిన్కి ఇంపల్సెస్ ట్రావెల్ అవుతూనే ఉంటాయి. ఒరే నీకు దెబ్బ తగిలింది చూసుకోరా అని. అర్థమవుతుంది కదమ్మా? అండ్ దీస్ సిగ్నల్స్ దే ఆర్ మేడప్ ఆఫ్ వాట్? దే ఆర్ మేడప్ ఆఫ్ ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీ, కరెంట్. Able to understand? So total human body always current will be flowing. Very small electrical impulses will be flowing. Even when you touch your mobile phone, how mobile phone screen is working, ma? Because your finger has the ability to produce electrical impulses. So those impulses are sensed by the screen and it will start working. Are able to understand? That's it. So neurons are excitable cells. They carry the impulses. So neurons are protected and supported by which kind of cells, ma? They are protected by neuroglial cells. This is another important point. So all the neurons, they have a protection. And who protects these neurons? Neurons will be protected by a type of cells which is called as neuroglial cells. Clear? So neuroglial cells, they make up more than half the volume of the neural tissue. Are able to understand, ma? So total neural system, of this neural system, half of the cells, they are responsible for protection. And what are those cells which are responsible for protection? Neuroglial cells. Neuroglial cells, they are not responsible for carrying impulses. Are able to understand? ఇక్కడ రెండు టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ సెల్స్ గురించి మనం మాట్లాడుతూ ఉన్నాం. ఒకటి సెల్స్ విచ్ ఆర్ మేడప్ ఆఫ్ న్యూరన్స్, అండ్ ద సెకండ్ వన్ ఈస్ న్యూరోగ్లియల్ సెల్స్. Neuroglial cells, they are not responsible for carrying impulses. They are responsible for protecting the neurons. Is it clear? But they make half of the total volume of the total neurons present in the body. Understood now? That's it. Okay, ma? And organ system already we have studied, no, ma? Cells, group of cells is called tissues, group of tissues is called organ, and group of organs is called organ system. So this organization is essential for better coordinated activities of cells. It means all the functions of the cells, they are carried perfectly only because of this type of organization. So organ is made up of one or more types of tissues. So this is one important point, ma, here. Heart has epithelial tissues also. It has connective tissues also. It has muscular tissues also. It has neural tissues also. Are you able to understand, ma? Epithelial cells, they are made up of epithelial. Heart also has a tubes, no, ma? And inner layers of tubes, they are made up of what? Epithelial cells. Clear, no? Where blood is flowing. And definitely heart is made up of connective tissues for protection and connection. Muscular muscles are present in the heart, no, cardiac muscle is present. And nerves also, they are present in the heart. So neural tissues are also present. Clear? That's it. Okay, ba? So we will stop up to here. In the afternoon, we will study about morphology and anatomy of cockroach. Clear? That's it. Anatomy, ma? So in this we will study about earthworm as well as frog. Clear? Okay. So sorry, cockroach and frog. Earthworm is not present. So see, ma. So earthworm, what is the scientific name of earthworm, ma? It is Periplaneta americana. That is the scientific name of earthworm. Sorry, cockroach. Okay. So this cockroach belongs to which species? Which is species is americana, and genus is Periplaneta is the genus. Okay. And class is insecta and phylum is arthropod. So this is about the classification of cockroach. So they are nocturnal animals, nocturnal organisms. What is meant by nocturnal organisms? They are very active at the night times. That is called as nocturnal. Okay, ma? they are very active at the night times. That is, so the searching for food that happens in the night time. That is called as nocturnal. And they are omnivorous. Omnivorous means so they are vegetarian also as well as non-vegetarian also. That is, they depends on organisms also for food, and they depend on plants also for food. That is why they are called as omnivorous. And they live in damp places. What is meant by damp places? Moist places and shadow places. This kind of places you can call them as damp places. So color of these cockroaches is either brown or black in color and bright yellow, red and green colored cockroaches also you can see in the case of tropical regions. Are you able to understand? These many colors you can see. And what about their size? Size varies from 1 by 4th inch to 3 inches. So you should have seen different sizes of cockroaches. You will find very small cockroaches to very big cockroaches also. So their size ranges from 0.6 centimeter to even 7.6 centimeters also. Clear? So morphology. What is meant by morphology? Outer structure. Outer structure is called as morphology. Outer structure. Okay. So the adults are 35 to 53 long. Already he said that it is 0.6 centimeters to 7.6 centimeters longer normal. So one more data he is giving. Adults are about 34 to 55 long. That is 3.4 centimeters to 5.3 centimeters long. So the body of this cockroaches, it is covered by hard brown chitinous exoskeleton. Okay, ma? Human body, we have endoskeleton. No? We have the skeleton part present inside our body. Skeleton is there, no, which is present inside the body. But for cockroaches, you will find a skeleton outside the body, which is called as exoskeleton. Are you able to understand? And here you are seeing this brown color parts, no, ma? So exoskeleton, it is present on the dorsal side also, it is present on the ventral side also. What is meant by dorsal side? Back side. Ventral side means front side. So on both the sides you will see this exoskeleton. Exoskeleton means skeleton which is present on the outside of the body is called as exoskeleton. Clear now? Chitinous. Chitinous means what? So nitrogen containing polysaccharide is called as chitinous. So many times you will get this language, no? This word you will get many times. Chitinous. Chitinous means it is also a carbohydrate or a polysaccharide. But nitrogen is the major component in this one. So nitrogen containing polysaccharide, you can call it as chitinous exoskeleton. Okay, ma? So hard brown chitinous exoskeleton. Sound తక్కువ వస్తుందా? ఓకే, అది పెంచినావా మ్యాక్సిమం? ఓకే. ఓకేమా? సో 1 minute. Okay. So see, so in each segment, exoskeleton has hardened plates called sclerites. Are you able to understand? So these sclerites, they are present on the dorsal side also, they are present on the ventral side also. So what is meant by sclerites? So sclerites are the parts of which exoskeleton is made up of. So outer part of this what you call cockroach, it is made up of sclerites, and it is present on the dorsal side as well as on the ventral side. So see here, so a component of exoskeleton is nothing but sclerite. Clear, no? So on the dorsal side, these sclerites, they are called as tergites. Okay, ma? On the dorsal side, what we name them? On the dorsal side, we name them as tergites. Dorsal side means what? On the back side. Are you able to understand? And on the ventral side, they are called as sternites. Are you able to understand, ma? So see in the figure here, you can find this tergites, no, ma? So they are present on which side? They are present on the dorsal side, on the back side of this cockroach. They are called as tergites. And on the front side, you will find this kind of structures, no? So this kind of structures, you can call them as sternites. Okay, and they are present on which side? They are present on the ventral side. That is on the front side of this, or the abdominal region part of this cockroach. So this is also important bit. So sclerites you can divide into two types. One is tergites, and the second one is called as sternites. So tergites are present on which side? Tergites, they are present on the dorsal side, that is on the back side. and sternites, they are present on the ventral side, that is on the front side. So they are joined together by a thin and flexible articular membrane, which is also called as arthrodial membrane. Okay, ma? So these tergites and sternites are able to understand. So these are called sternites, no, which are present on the front side. That exoskeleton is called sternite, and the dorsal side is called as tergite. So both of them, they are connected on the lateral side by a membrane. And what is the name of that membrane? It is a thin and flexible membrane, which is called as articular membrane, which is also called as arthrodial membrane also. Are able to understand? So the body has three regions, ma: thorax, head, as well as abdomen. So these are the three body parts of this what you call cockroach. Okay, human body has what? We have head, we have thorax, clear, nama? This region where we respire, that is called as thorax, and we have stomach region also, which is called as abdomen, and below the abdomen we have legs also. Are able to understand? But in the case of cockroach, legs are attached to thorax cavity only. Where legs are attached? Legs are attached to thorax cavity. Legs are not separated like us. Okay, so basically body part we can divide it into only three types. One is head, then head is joined to thorax, and thorax is joined to abdominal cavity. That's it. Okay, now here in the figure you can see this arthrodial membrane. Where is this arthrodial membrane? This arthrodial membrane is at the lateral side of this cockroach. Lateral side means what? Sideways. This region you can call it as the lateral region. So in the lateral region, this arthrodial membrane is present, and this arthrodial membrane, what it will do? It will connect to the dorsal tergites and ventral sternites. And tergites and sternites, both of them you can call it as sclerites. Clear, no? That's it. So now let us see what are these three parts they are made up of. Okay. So first one, head. So head is in which shape? Head is in triangular shape, in the form of a triangle. Clear? So here in the figure you can see, no, ma? So this is the triangle shape of this cockroach. Shape is somewhat like this, no? Okay. So that is, it is having triangular type of head. So triangular head is formed by 6 fused segments. How many segments are fused together, ma? 6 segments they are fused together, and a head will be formed. So what are those segments here? So these are, ma. So labrum, which is called as upper lip. So the next mandibles. So mandibles are responsible for grasping, holding, and cutting the food. That is the purpose of mandibles. Clear? Next, maxillae, 2 maxillae. Maxillae are responsible for tasting the food. Clear, nama? Then hypopharynx, which is also called as tongue, and a labium, which is called as lower lip. So head is made up of these many parts. Okay, and finally a triangular type of structure will be formed. So let us see. So triangular head is formed by 6 fused segments. So it shows great mobility in all directions due to flexible neck. So what is the type of neck they have? Flexible neck. So with the help of that, it can move its head in as many directions and as many angles it wants. Clear? So head bears a pair of thread-like antennae. So in cockroaches you will find 2 antennae also, no? Clear, no? So a pair of compound eyes. Compound eyes means what? It is a combination of nearly some 2000 very small eyes. So in the eyes, we have only single eye, no? So we have a single what to call iris, single ciliary muscles are present, single lens is present. But in the case of this cockroaches, it is a combination of 2000 eyes, and 2000 eyes they function together as a single eye. Okay, ma? So therefore brightness is very large. It means any object it can see very brightly. That is the reason it will hunt in the night times. Are you able to understand? But the resolution is very weak. Resolution is very weak means what? Clarity is not so much. We can see the objects very clearly, no? But cockroaches cannot see so clearly. But brightness is very large. They can observe the anything with huge brightness. That is the advantage and disadvantages of compound eyes. Clear, no? So many eyes, combination of nearly 2000 eyes. And biting and chewing type of mouth parts. So what is meant by biting and chewing type of mouth parts? We will study here. So see here, ma. So basically head is made up of totally how many parts, ma? Labrum, which is called as an upper lip. 2 mandibles. Mandibles means which are responsible for grasping, holding and cutting the food. Okay ma? So here in the figure you can see this region, no, this is called as a mandible. Clear? So this is a labrum, which is called as upper lip. Clear? So two maxillae are also present. So this is called as maxillae. And what is the purpose of maxillae ma? Responsible for tasting the food. ఓకే, చక్కెర ఎక్కువ ఉందో తక్కువ ఉందో, షుగరు, సాల్ట్, ఇవన్నీ దాంతో టెస్ట్ చేస్తుంది అనమాట మ్యాక్సిల్లీ. సో హైపోఫారింగ్స్, హైపోఫారింగ్స్ ఇస్ అ టంగ్. సో దిస్ ఇస్ ద హైపోఫారింగ్స్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ cockroach. And a labium, which is called as a lower lip, it is present here. Okay ma? So these are the different parts in which head is made up of. Okay, so next coming to thorax cavity. Okay, so thorax is again divided into three types ma. One is prothorax, second one is mesothorax, and the third one is called as metathorax. So prothorax is the region to which head is connected, and to the head, to the what you call prothorax, mesothorax is connected, and to the mesothorax, a final thorax which is called as metathorax is connected. Are you able to understand ma? So this prothorax, it gives a very small region which is called as neck also, and it is very small. So a neck-like of structure will be formed, and to the neck-like structure, the head of this cockroach will be attached. Are you able to understand ma? But it doesn't have a very well differentiated neck like human beings. Human beings has a well differentiated neck, no? But that type of neck is not present. So just this prothorax only, it behaves like a neck, and to that prothorax only, head is attached. Clear no ma? So head is connected to a thorax by a neck. So neck means not original neck ma, just a short extension of the prothorax, just an extension of the prothorax. So each thoracic segment bears a pair of walking legs. So what is the meaning of this one? So how many thorax cavities are present totally? 3. And each thorax cavity has a pair of legs. Pair means how many? 2. So 3 2s are 6. So totally cockroaches have how many legs? They have 6 legs. Are you able to understand? So 2 prothorax, 2 legs are attached. 2 mesothorax, 2 legs are attached. And 2 metathorax also, 2 legs are attached. So totally it will have 6 legs. Clear? So in the figure you can find here ma. So this is the head region of this cockroach. These are the antennae, and this is the prothorax leg, the legs which are attached to the prothorax region. And in mesothorax region also you can find one leg, and in metathorax region also you can find one leg. Similarly on the other side also you will find another 3 legs. Clear? So this region you can call it as the prothorax. Okay ma? This region of this cockroach, that is prothorax. And the next region up to here, this is called as mesothorax, and the next adjoining region, that is called as metathorax. Are you able to understand? So this is about thorax cavity. So then to the thorax itself, 2 pairs of wings are present. 2 pairs of wings means what? So totally 4 wings are present. Pair means 2 wings, no? 2 pairs means 2 2s are 4 wings are present. So 4 wings. First one it is called as 4 wings, and the second one is called as hind wings. Are you able to understand? It means 4 wings, they are present on the front side. Front side in the self, they are present a bit farther. And behind the 4 wings, that is attached to the next segment, you will find the hind wings. So totally 4 pairs of wings are present. Clear no ma? Sorry, 2 pairs of wings are present and 4 wings are present. So 4 wings, Sima. Where these 4 wings are attached, they are attached to the second thorax, which is called second thorax. Mesothorax region is called as the second thorax. So they are attached to the second thorax, and they are also called as tegmina. Clear ma? And what is the nature of these 4 wings? They are opaque. Opaque means what? Opaque means they are not transparent, no? They are not transparent. These wings, they are not transparent. They are dark in color, leathery, and cover the hind wings when at rest. So what is the function of these 4 wings ma? Function of 4 wings is covering the hind wings. Okay, so which are the main wings which are responsible for flight? Hind wings are the wings which are responsible for flight, and these 4 wings, they protect this hind wings. Are you able to understand? So when you see a cockroach, you will see a dark brown color layer on the body of this exoskeleton, no ma? That is called as 4 wings. Okay, and hind wings. And hind wings, where they are attached to the third third thorax. Which is the third thorax? Metathorax is the third thorax. So they are transparent, they are membranous and are used in flight. Okay, ma? So when you see a cockroach flying, you can see only these transparent membranes, they are responsible for flight. Okay, ma? So these opaque membranes, they are not responsible for flight. They are responsible only for protection of the hind wings. Understood, no? That's it. So hind wings, that is the wings which are responsible for flight, they are transparent and they are membranous and are used in flight. Okay, ma? This is about a pair of wings. So four wings where they are attached to the front region of this cockroach. That is, they are attached to mesothorax. And to the metathorax, hind wings are attached. Clear? That's it. So next, abdominal cavity. We are studying about the stomach region, or you can call it as the abdominal cavity. So it is consisting of totally how many segments, ma? It consists of totally 10 segments. And what each segment will perform, this is a very, very important discussion in the case of cockroaches. Are you able to understand, ma? So in females, 7th segment, 8th segment and 9th segment, sterna are also called as segments, ma. Are you able to understand? Segments and sterns both are same. Clear? So 7th segment, 8th segment and 9th segment, they form a brood pouch. They form a genital pouch. Okay? It means all the genital organs means we know the organs which are responsible for reproduction, and similarly the organs, they are excretory organs. So all these organs you will find in 7th, 8th and 9th segments. Are you able to understand? So it contains a female, similarly in the female, now we are discussing about the females, ma. Don't forget about this one. So in females, 7th, 8th and 9th segments, they form this covering which is called as a genital covering, which also you can call it as brood pouch or a genital pouch. Okay. So similarly, it contains a female gonopore. Gonopore means what? In a small aperture or a small hole, or a genital pore. Pore means we know, no? Aperture is called as a pore. So it contains female gonopore also. Then spermatical pores also, and collateral glands also, where in 7th, 8th and 9th segments. Clear, Dama? So female gonopore means what? A small opening, a small hole which is present. Clear, Dama? Spermatical pores means, so these are responsible for receiving and releasing the sperms to the eggs. So female receives the sperms from male cockroach, Dama. So in this female cockroach, we have spermatical pores. Clear, ma? Which are responsible for capturing the sperms and which are responsible for releasing the sperms to the eggs of the what you call female cockroach for fertilization. Are you able to understand? So, and they have some glands also, which is called as collateral glands. Understood, Nama? So in female, which segments have these genital pouches, ma? 7th, 8th and 9th segments have the genital pouches. Clear? So in males, genital pouch lies at the hind end of the abdomen, bounded dorsally by 9th and 10th terga and ventrally by 9th sternum. Are you able to understand, ma? In the case of females, segments, 7th segment, 8th segment and 9th segment, they have this genital pouches. Okay, ma? But in the case of males, it is a bit different here. Okay, ma? So it is present in the end of the abdomen. What is meant by hind end of the abdomen? Hind means last end of the abdomen, bounded dorsally by 9th and 10th segments, or you can call it as the tergites. Are you able to understand, ma? Dorsally means what? On the front side, on the stomach part. Are you able to understand? Dorsal ante de kadra. Dorsal means back side, no? Okay. So therefore, on the dorsal side by 9th and dorsal region. Dorsal means back only, no? So dorsal region by 9th and 10th tergites. So on the back side, 9th and 10th tergites, they form these genital pouches. And on the ventral side again you will have the 9th sternum. Are you able to understand? So it means genital pouch, it is a combination of both the dorsal side as well as on the ventral side. It is present on both sides. But in the case of females, it is not like that. It is present only on one side. Clear, Nama? So here what is the different segments? It is made up of 9th and 10th terga and 9th sternum. So this is a very important bit which you should remember. Are you able to understand? Okay, similarly this genital pouch, it also contains a dorsal anus. So anus is present on which side? Anus means we don't know, which is responsible for excretion is called as anus. So anus is present on the dorsal side, on the back side. Clear, Dhamma? And genital pore, where it is present? Genital pore, it is present on the ventral side, which is also called as a gonopore, and it contains gonapophysis. What is meant by gonapophysis, ma? Just an irregular membrane which surrounds this total genital pouch is called as gonapophysis. Are you able to understand? So here I have written, so irregular chitinous structures which surrounds the gonopore is called as gonapophysis. Are you able to understand, ma? So it is a chitinous structure. Chitinous means already we have studied, no, ma? Nitrogen containing polysaccharide, and it is not regular, it is an irregular structure. Okay, so this irregular structure called gonapophysis, it covers this gonopore. Okay, ma? So therefore in the males, anus is present where? Anus is present on the dorsal side, and genital pore is present on the ventral side. Okay, and it contains gonapophysis also. So genital pouch is made up of 9th and 10th dorsal terga and 9th sternum on the ventral side. Clear? That's it. Okay. So in both sexes, 10th segment bears a pair of jointed appendage which is called as anal cerci. Clear, no, ma? So in the figure you can find here this anal cerci, ma? This one. This structure which you are seeing here, this is called as anal cercus. Cercus is the singular form, cerci is the plural form. This means this anal cerci you can find both in males also as well as in female cockroaches also. And what is the function of this cerci, ma? Function of this cerci is for detection of vibrations, and they are wind sensitive also. Are you able to understand, ma? It means they are what you call, they are responsible for sensation, sensory organs they are. Are you able to understand? So where these anal cerci they are present? They are present on the 10th segment. Are you able to understand? And it is present both in males also as well as in females also. See here, this is the anal cerci. Are you able to understand? Both present in both males as well as females. Next, males bear a pair of short thread-like anal styles. Okay, ma? But in males we have another structure which is called as anal styles. Okay, ma? And what is the help of this anal styles, ma? See here, this is the anal style. Okay, and this anal style, where you find anal style, you will find only in the case of male cockroaches, because these are the parts which are responsible for copulation. Are you able to understand? For reproduction process, this anal styles, they are responsible. So therefore males and females both have anal cerci for sensing the vibrations and direction of winds, and males have anal styles which are responsible for copulation. So then he is giving the differences between male and female cockroaches, ma? Clear, no? Males, they are larger in size, so they should be, female should be smaller in size. Wings extend beyond the tip of the abdomen. Okay, ma? It means the size of the wings is bigger, and they will extend up to the end of the abdominal cavity also. That means they are present extended up to beyond the abdomen also. But in the case of females, the wings are very short and do not extend beyond the tip of the abdomen. Clear, no, ma? So abdominal cavity is narrow, abdominal cavity of female is broad. It means male cockroaches, they are eating very little amount of food, ma? So that is why their abdomen is very narrow, but females are this much, broad abdomen, eating lot of food. Okay, so anal styles are present. Anal styles, they are male parts, no, ma? So they are absent in the case of females. Brood pouch, it is absent. Brood pouch is the nature of what you call female, for brooding, for breeding. Are you able to understand, ma? Genital pouch is present. Genital pouch and brood pouch, they are not one and the same. Clear, no, ma? But brood pouch also you can call it as genital pouch in the case of females. Are you able to understand? So brood pouch is present in the case of females, and it is absent in the case of males. Okay, that's it. So next, digestive system. So alimentary canal has three parts. What is meant by alimentary canal, ma? For example, in human beings, so the canal which connects the inner parts of our mouth, and directly it goes up to the anus. So this total region we can call it as alimentary canal. Clear, no? Similarly, in the case of cockroaches, alimentary canal we can divide them into three parts. One is the foregut, second one is the midgut, and the third one is called the hindgut. Foregut means the gut region or the digestive system which is present in the front part. Midgut means which is present in the middle, and hindgut means which is present on the back side. So starting from mouth up to here, this is called as foregut. Are you able to understand, ma? And from here to here, this region is called as hindgut, and the region from here to up to this total ending, this is called as hindgut. Okay, so these are the three parts of which alimentary canal is made up of. Are you able to understand? Starting from mouth to here, so here you are seeing this, what is this region? Hepatic KC. You are seeing, no, ma? Up to this hepatic KC, this is called as foregut. And the region between hepatic KC and the Malpighian tubules, that is called as hindgut. Midgut. And from this Malpighian tubules up to the anus, that we can call it as the hindgut. So these are the three parts. Now let us see each of them in detail. Clear, no, ma? So foregut. Foregut is lined by cuticle. So this is one important point. So where you find this cuticle you will find in plants also, no? Are you able to understand, ma? A thin waxy substance is called as cuticle, which is responsible for stopping the transpiration of water. That is called as cuticle, no? Cuticle was present on the stems of the plants and on the surfaces of the leaves. So cuticle was absent in stems. But here, this foregut, it has a layer which is called as cuticle. So ikkada kuda oka cuticle undanamata. So then this foregut includes how many parts, ma? Mouth is extended to pharynx. Pharynx is extended to esophagus. Esophagus is extended to crop, and crop is extended to gizzard. So these are the different parts which are present in the foregut. Clear, nama? So in the figure you can see this region is called as the mouth. Okay, ma? So mouth is connected to pharynx, and what is meant by pharynx? So it is a hollow tube that starts behind the nose. In the case of human beings also we have a pharynx. Nose is connected to a tube, no, ma? That tube you can call it as the pharynx. Clear, no? And pharynx is again connected to esophagus. What is meant by esophagus? It is a muscular tube connecting the mouth and the stomach. So in between mouth and stomach we have a very strong muscular elongating tube. Okay, ma? ఎప్పుడన్నా హ్యూమన్ బాడీ స్ట్రక్చర్ చూసింటారు కదా మీరు, ఇక్కడ ఒక ట్యూబ్ ఉంటుంది. దట్ ట్యూబ్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ as esophagus, and it is a very strong tube. It is a muscular tube. Clear, no, ma? Then this esophagus again opens into a crop. And what is meant by crop here? See, ma, here the parts are present. So this is the pharynx. Mouth is open into pharynx. Pharynx is connected to esophagus. This region we can call it as esophagus, ma? And esophagus is again connected to crop. And what is the function of this crop? Function of this crop is to store the food material. Okay, and a crop is again connected to this small yellow region which is called as gizzard. Okay, and what is the gizzard? You are able to see, no? This small region is called as gizzard. Clear? And what is the function of this gizzard? Digestion. For grinding of this food, this gizzard is responsible. Okay, ma? So these many parts, they make the foregut. So what are the different parts? Mouth, pharynx, esophagus, crop, and gizzard. Clear, no, ma? So gizzard helps in grinding of the food. It has an outer layer of thick circular muscles and a thick inner cuticle forming 6 chitinous plates. You can also call them as teeth. Okay, so this gizzard, this small region which you are seeing here, this small region is called as gizzard. Are you able to understand, ma? And what is the function of this gizzard? Already we discussed, no, grinding of food material. So there is an outer layer of thick circular muscles. So that is on the outside of this gizzard, thick circular muscles are present, and there is some thick inner cuticle also. That is on the inside of this gizzard you will find a cuticle which is very thick, and it has some teeth also, which is in the form of 6 chitinous plates. And these plates, they are responsible for cutting and grinding the food. Understood, Amma? So up to here, that is the function of the foregut. Now we are studying about the midgut. Midgut starts from where? Midgut starts from the gizzard, from the ending of the gizzard up to the Malpighian tubules. Already we discussed, no? So it is not lined by cuticle. So that is a thin layer. It is present only on the only on the foregut, and cuticle you don't find in the midgut. So 6 to 8 tubules, hepatic or gastric caseae, are seen at the junction of foregut and midgut. They secrete the digestive juices. Okay, ma? So here you are seeing some thread-like structures called hepatic caseae, no? Are you able to understand, ma? So this hepatic caseae, they are responsible for what? They are responsible for secreting the digestive juices. Are you able to understand? So at the junction where they are present, they are present at the junction of foregut and midgut. That means at the foregut these what you call tubules, they are present. And how many tubules are present? 6 may be present, 7 may be present, 8 may be present. And the function is secreting the digestive juices. So at the junction of midgut and hindgut, they are 150 to 100 to 150 yellow colored thin filamentous Malpighian tubules. So at the end of midgut, end of midgut means what? End of midgut, their hindgut will start, no, ma? So in between both of them you will have Malpighian tubules. And how many Malpighian tubules are there? 100 to 150 Malpighian tubules are present. And these Malpighian tubules, they are responsible for excretion. They are responsible for excretion. Okay. So therefore, this total region in between these two red color lines, this we can call it as the midgut. Okay. That's it. Okay. Then discussing about hindgut. That is the last part of the gut. And what is called as hindgut? This region between the Malpighian tubules and this anus, that is called as hindgut. So it is broader than midgut and lined internally by cuticle. So it means its size is bigger. When compared to the midgut, size of the hindgut is bigger. That's what you can see ma here. This yellow color tube, this is very thin, no, in the case of midgut. But here in the case of this yellow color tube, it is very big in size. Diameter is very large. Clear, no? So therefore it is broader than midgut. And here also you will find a cuticle. But cuticle is present on the inside of this hindgut. Are you able to understand, ma? So cuticle, where it is present in the foregut also, it is present in the hindgut also, but in the middle gut, that is in the midgut, you don't find any cuticle. And cuticles, they are present on the inside or outside? They are present on the inside also. Even in the foregut, in the case of gizzard, these cuticles were present inside, and to the cuticle, this chitinous teeth were present. Okay, ma? And here also in the case of hindgut also, you will find cuticles, but they are also present on the inside. Okay. So hindgut includes ileum, colon and rectum. So these are the three parts of which hindgut is made up of. Clear, no, ma? So one is ileum, second one is colon, and the third one is called as rectum. So this region which you are seeing here, sima. So a very small tube you are seeing, no, ma, which is attached to the Malpighian tubules. To the Malpighian tubules, you are seeing a very small tube, no? That small tube is nothing but ileum. Okay, ma? And to the ileum, colon will be attached, and to the column, this rectum will be attached, and rectum opens out to the outside with the help of anus. Clear, no, ma? That's it. So small narrow tubular part is nothing but ileum, and colon, how we defined, highly coiled structure. Okay, ma? All these are excretory regions, that's it. Clear, no, ma? So highly coiled structure is called as colon. It means it is coiled like anything. Okay. And rectum opens out through what, ma? Rectum opens out through anus. So even in human beings also, same case we find. We two have a rectum, we two have a anus. Clear? That's it. So next we are discussing about circulatory system. So what kind of circulatory system is present here? Open type of circulatory system. What is meant by open type of circulatory system? Open type of circulatory system means what? Open type of circulatory system means blood vessels, veins, veinlets, they are not present. Are you able to understand? So just blood is thrown into open spaces, and this open spaces only you will have heart, all this which are bathed in the blood. Clear? So this type of structure is called as open circulatory system. Human beings have what kind of system? We have closed system. Okay, we have arteries, veins, veinlets are present. Okay, so blood is not thrown into open spaces. So vessels are absent in this condition. That is why they are called as open type. So blood vessels are poorly developed and open into a space, okay, which is called hemocoel. Okay, so this region which you are seeing here, this is called as hemocoel. So blood is thrown into these regions. That's it. Clear, and that region we can call it as hemocoel. And here blood vessels are not highly developed, they are poorly developed. Okay, so visceral organs. What is meant by visceral organs? The sensitive parts, heart, kidneys, lungs, all them you can call them as visceral organs. So visceral organs located in the hemocoel are bathed in blood, and that what is the name of the blood? Blood is called as hemolymph. Okay, hemocoel. You should not be confused here. Hemocoel means the open spaces into which blood is thrown, and this blood, name of the blood is called as hemolymph. And in this what you call open regions, visceral organs are present which are taking a bath in the blood. Okay, so hemolymph, this blood consists of what? It consists of colorless plasma and hemocytes. Okay, so hemolymph is the name of the blood, and the blood contains plasma. We have many types of organelles in our blood. We have RBCs, WBCs, neutrophils, all these are present. But in the case of cockroaches, the majority compounds are, one is plasma, that is the liquid, major component of liquid of blood, and hemocytes. So these are the cells which are responsible for protecting the cockroach from external viruses and external bacteria, which is called as the part of immune system. Okay, so what is meant by hemocytes? They are responsible for developing the immune system of the cockroach. Understood, Nama? That's it. Okay, then heart. So heart consists of elongated muscular tube lying along mid-dorsal line of thorax and the abdomen. Okay, so where is this heart present? First of all, it is an elongated muscular tube. Okay, it consists of an elongated muscular tube. Elongated means which is stretched. Muscular means it is made up of muscles. Muscular tube lying along mid-dorsal line of thorax. So is it present on the front side or is it present on the back side? It is present on the back side. Clear, Nama? Dorsal line of thorax and the abdomen. Are you able to understand? It means there is a line on the dorsal side passing through the thorax and the abdomen. So in that line you can find this heart. So heart is present on the dorsal side for the case of cockroach, and it is connecting the thorax also, it is connecting the abdomen also. Okay, so it has funnel shaped chambers with ostia on either side. Okay, so this heart has what kind of chambers? We do have chambers, we have two auricles and two ventricles. Similarly, the cockroach also have chambers, but what is the shape of the chambers? Funnel shaped chambers with ostia on either. So ostia means small holes, small openings, small porous apertures. They are called as ostia. Okay, so heart of cockroach has 13 contractile chambers with apertures called ostia. So how many chambers are present in the heart of a cockroach? 13 chambers are present. Okay, and each chamber has some openings which is called as ostia. So blood is pumped into the heart through this ostia from a region which is called as sinus. Okay, so through the sinus, blood is pumped into the heart via with the help of these holes which is called as ostia. Are you able to understand? And this heart again it pumps the blood into the sinuses or the gaps, again with the help of ostia. This is what is happening. Are you able to understand? So blood from sinuses means openings in the body. Clear ma? Sinuses enter heart through ostia and is pumped anteriorly to sinuses once again. So sinuses pump the blood to heart through ostia. Heart will pump blood to sinuses again through ostia. So that is the arrangement of circulatory system of this cockroach. Understood, Nama? Then we are studying about respiratory system, how they will respire, how gaseous exchange is taken place. Clear, Nama? So it consists of a network of trachea that open through 10 pairs of small holes called spiracles present on the lateral side of the body. Are you able to understand, ma? So therefore, we have lung system, no, ma? Human beings, we have what kind of system? We have a lung system. So into the lungs, air enters, and there we have alveoli, and it is made up of epithelial cells. All we have studied, no? And through these epithelial cells, carbon dioxide is taken by the lungs again, and oxygen is pumped into the blood by a process called diffusion process. But here there is no such a complex phenomenon. So total body of this cockroach, it has small tubes which is called as a trachea. Are you able to understand? And where you find this trachea? Sima. So here you are finding this small region, no? This region is called as trachea. Okay, and trachea, so you can say that trachea is like this. So this is the arrangement of trachea. Okay, and to this trachea again it is divided into small gaps or small holes which is called as spiracles. Are you able to understand, ma? So trachea has again extensions or gaps, and what are those gaps? They are called as spiracles. And it travels through these spiracles, and again each spiracle is divided into many tracheoles. So what you call veins and veinlets we have, no, ma? Veins are further divided into veinlets. Similarly, trachea is again divided into tracheoles. That's it. Clear, no? So let us see what is the function of this one. So it consists of a network of trachea that open through 10 pairs of small holes called spiracles. So what is these holes? They are called as spiracles. Are you able to understand, ma? Present on the lateral side of the body. So the thin branches of tracheal tubes, they are called as tracheoles. Okay. So they carry oxygen from air to all the body parts. So in this tracheoles only, you can see the gaseous exchange to be taken place, and the oxygen which is present in the atmosphere, it is taken by these tracheoles and it is supplied to different parts of the body. Understood, Dhamma? So the opening of spiracles is again regulated by another system which is called as sphincters. Are you able to understand? So the opening and closing of these spiracles. What is meant by spiracles? The gaps through which tracheoles they will travel are the gaps through which trachea opens to the lateral side of the body, to the sideways of the body. That is called as what you call spiracles, Nama. So these closing and opening of spiracles, it is again controlled by another mechanism which is called as sphincters. Understood, no? So gaseous exchange takes place in the tracheoles by diffusion concept. So everywhere gaseous exchange takes place by diffusion only, Nama. Even in human body you can find through diffusion only gaseous exchange will take place. Understood, no? So therefore, understood the structure, Nama, what is happening here? So this is the cockroach and this is the trachea which is present. So trachea opens into, what is the name of the trachea? Opens into spiracles. Clear, Nama? So these are small tubes, they are called as spiracles, small openings. And how many spiracles are present? 10 pairs of spiracles are present. Are you able to understand? And in each spiracle, again you will find small tracheoles. Tracheoles are present. So in the figure you can see here. So this region you can call it as the trachea. Clear, no? And this region, this is called as the spiracle. And at the end of a spiracle, you can find this tracheoles. Understood, no? And through this tracheoles only, gaseous exchange will take place. Understood, Amma, clearly? That's it. So that is the respiratory system of this, what you call cockroach. Okay. Next, coming to excretory system. So they are uricotelic. What is meant by uricotelic? So they release the waste to the atmosphere in the form of uric acid. Then they are called as uricotelic. And uric, what is the main component of uric acid? Ma? Nitrogen is the main compound of uric acid. Are you able to understand? So they are also called as nitrogenous waste also. Okay, ma? So uric acid is also called as nitrogenous waste also. So these Malpighian tubules and all these excretory systems, they convert these waste materials into uric acid, and that uric acid is released into the atmosphere with the help of anus through rectum. Clear, no? That's it. So excretory organ is Malpighian tubules. So how many pairs of, how many Malpighian tubules are present? 100 to 150 Malpighian tubules are present. Already we have studied, no? So each tubule means what? Each Malpighian tubule. So where we have Malpighian tubules, ma? Here I have Malpighian tubules, no? Clear, no? So eight longitudinal connectives on the ventral side. So these ganglions, they are present on which side, ma? Group of nerves, they are present on which side? They are present on the ventral side. Ventral side means on the front region. Dorsal side it is called as back region. Okay. So three ganglion lie in the thorax and six lie in the abdomen. So already we studied that the body of cockroach we can divide into three parts. Nama. First one is called as head. Second one is called as thorax, and the third one is called as abdomen. Already we have studied, no? So therefore, in the thorax, how many ganglion you can find? In the thorax, you can find three ganglion, and in the abdomen, you can find the six ganglion. So that is this is the thorax region, Nama. So in this region, you can find three ganglion, and in the abdominal region, you can find the six ganglion. So group of nerves. Are you able to understand? So the head only holds a bit of nervous system. Remaining part is situated along the ventral part of the body. So it means head consists of only small part of nervous system. Remaining total part it is present on the ventral side of the body. So if the head of the cockroach is cut off, it will still live for 1 week. So this is a very important point. Already you should have studied, Nama. Are able to understand? So even if you cut the head of a cockroach also, it has the ability to live for some 6 to 7 days. Are able to understand? Because the major part of the nervous system, it is not connected to head. It is connected only to the ventral region of the cockroach. So that is the reason why it can survive even for 1 week, even if you cut the head of the cockroach. Clear, no? So the supraesophageal ganglion, which is connected to the brain, supplies nerves to antennae as well as the compound nerves. So compound eyes. So this is one important point which you should remember. Are you able to understand more? So the nervous system which is connected to antennae, the head region which has some antennae, Noma. So antennae as well as the compound eyes. And how many pairs of eyes are present, Ma? So 2000 small eyes they are present, and they are combined to form compound eyes in the case of this cockroach. Are you able to understand? So what is this ganglion called as? This is called as supraesophageal ganglion. So this is the ganglion which is supplied to antennae as well as the compound eyes. So these are the points which you should remember here. So in this slide, what are the points which you should remember? How many ganglion are present in the thorax? 3. How many are present in the abdomen? 6. So why it is able to survive even when head is cut off? Because head doesn't contain majority of the nerves. Clear, no? And which is the ganglion which is connected to antenna as well as the compound eyes? It is called as the supraesophageal ganglion. Clear? Next. So sense organs. What are the sense organs which are present in this cockroach? So a pair of antennae. So compound eyes, maxillary pulps. So what is the function of this maxillary pulps? Function of maxillary pulps is for tasting the food. tasting of the food material. That is the function of this maxillary pulps. Clear, no? Labial pulps. Labrum we have studied. Now what is meant by labrum? Lower part of the lip is called as labrum. So labial pulp is nothing but lower lip of the, already we studied that head of the cockroach is made up of 6 different parts, no ma? So out of this labial part is also one part. Clear, no? Next, anal cerci, etc. So anal cerci is also one sense organ. So previously we have studied the diagram of this cockroach, no? For example, if this is the body of the cockroach, here you can find this anal cerci. Okay, so what is the use of this anal cerci ma? చదువుకున్నాం ఆల్రెడీ, చెప్పండి. వాట్ ఈస్ ద, ఇక్కడే రాసింది చూడండి. వాట్ ఈస్ ద ఫంక్షన్ ఆఫ్ anal cerci? So it is wind sensitive and it is vibration sensitive. Already we have studied, no? So it is able to sense the direction of the winds and it is also able to send the vibrations which are produced at its surroundings. So this is the function of anal cerci. Clear? So these are some of the sense organs which are present in the cockroach. What are the organs? Antennae, eye, maxillary pulps, labial pulps and anal cerci. These are the regions. Clear, no? So sensory receptors of antennae monitor the environment. So what is the function of antennae ma? Two antennae will be present, no? What is the function of antennae in the case of cockroach? They are responsible for supervising the environment or monitoring the environment. That is the function of antennae. Each compound eye consists of 2000 hexagonal omatidia. Each small eye you can call it as one omatid. Are you able to understand, ma? So how many combination of simple eyes will be present? 2000 eyes will be present. So already చదివినా మేము ఇది చదివినట్లున్నాం కదా. ఓకే, సో యూజింగ్ దిస్ a cockroach can receive several images of the object. This is called as mosaic vision. Are you able to understand, ma? So the total image which is present in front of the eyes of this cockroach, it is split into many small what you call images, ma? Are you able to understand? For example, one picture if you take, this picture if you divide into 2000 parts. Clear, no? So each part will be received by each simple eye. Okay, and all of them a blurred type of image will be created. Are you able to understand, ma? So what is the disadvantage of this compound eyes, ma? Resolution will be very less. That is the disadvantage. So you can write here. So what is the disadvantage of compound eyes? Is what, ma? Disadvantage is that the resolution means what? Clarity reduced. So resolution is very less. So that is the what you call the disadvantages of this compound eyes. But there is one advantage also. What is that? What is the advantage, ma? Advantage is that nocturnal vision. This is the advantage. Nocturnal vision. Nocturnal vision means what? They are able to see even at the night times also. So this is the advantage of simple eyes and compound eyes. We have simple eyes or compound eyes? We have simple eyes, no? So what is the advantage and disadvantage of simple eyes? Advantage I want to chapandi. Advantage is that the image which is produced in our eye is very clear. Image chala clear ga undi. But we cannot see the same image in the case of night times. So that is one disadvantage. So brightness will be lesser, but resolution will be greater. Clear, no, ma? So therefore, this type of vision, what you call it, ma? This type of vision you can call it as mosaic vision. So that is the formation of one image due to combination of several images. So it has more sensitivity but less resolution, being common during night. Hence they are called as nocturnal vision. Understood, no? That's it. So then coming to the male reproductive system of this cockroach. So see how many parts they are present here, Sima. So first one, this is the testis. Okay. So what is the function of testis, ma? Production of sperms. Sperms are produced here. Okay, ma? What is the purpose of this phallic gland? Here you can find this phallic gland. What is the purpose of this phallic gland, ma? Purpose of phallic gland, still we don't know. Why this phallic gland is present in this cockroach, still we doesn't know more clearly about this one. So question will not be asked on this one. So function is still unknown. Okay. Then there are small tubules which are present here in this seminal vesicle. Long tubules are also present in the same seminal vesicles. What is meant by seminal vesicle, ma? Seminal vesicle means what? So this is the region where the direction of sperm and the maintenance of sperm is maintained here. Are you able to understand? Ma? Sperms should move in one particular direction. No? So that direction of sperm as well as the quality of the sperm and the protection of the sperm and nourishment of the sperm, it is done by this seminal vesicle. Are you able to understand? Ma? I think somewhere we have studied already. No, ma? If you have not studied, you can write down here. So what is the purpose of seminal vesicles? Ma? To maintain direction of sperm, okay ma, and nourishment also to sperm, okay. And also in the case of cockroach, single sperm will not be present, group of sperms will be present always. Are you able to understand? So in the case of what you call cockroach, sperms are combined into some groups. So this grouping is also done in the case of this seminal vesicles. Are you able to understand? So one more function is what, ma? Grouping of what? Grouping of sperms. This is also done in the case of seminal vesicles. Okay. Then we have vas deferens. Okay, ma? What is the purpose of this vas deferens? This is just a transporting tube. That's it. Okay, ma? So at the time of what you call ejaculation, so the sperms, they will travel through this vas deferens and they are ejaculated. That is the purpose of vas deferens. Clear? Then we have ejaculatory duct. Ejaculatory duct means we know, no? So this is the pipe through which sperms will be ejaculated from the male cockroach. Okay, ma? Then we have phallomeres. What is meant by phallomeres? Already we have studied, no, ma? It is a unorganized membrane of polysaccharides. This is called as a what you call a phallomere. So what is meant by phallomere? Phallomere means unorganized. Namendra, lacking. Charging better. Charging better. Kundane class chepta unnam manamu. You are able to see, no, ma? So ejaculatory duct we have studied. Now we are studying about phallomeres. So unorganized chitinous membrane, okay, ma? Surrounding the genital parts. That is called as phallomere. Are you able to understand, ma? So phallomere, what is meant by phallomere? It is a membrane or chitinous membrane or membrane made up of polysaccharides. So which surrounds the genital parts. So cockroaches, they have genital parts, no, ma? Parts which are responsible for excretion, parts which are responsible for reproduction. So all these parts, they are covered by a membrane which is called as phallomere. And this phallomere we can divide into three types, ma. Okay, so it is not mentioned in NCERT, just for our understanding I have written here. Phallomeres you can divide it into left phallomere, right phallomere as well as ventral phallomere. Clear, no? So left phallomere, again it has two parts. First part is called titillator and the second one is called as pseudopenis. So these are the two parts which are present in the left phallomere. Are you able to understand, ma? One is the slender arm with a curved hook. Which is the curved arm with the slender arm with the curved hook, ma? This one. Here you are able to see in this figure, no? This one. This one is called as the titillator. Clear? And the second part which is present in this left phallomere, this is called as this pseudopenis. So it is in the shape of some hammer type of body, no, ma? Hammer laga undi kada, that is called as a pseudopenis. So short, broader arm with black hammer like a head. That is the description of a pseudopenis. Okay. So this titillator and pseudopenis, both of them where they are present in the left phallomere. And we have right phallomere also, we have a ventral phallomere also. So this is about phallomeres. Understood, Nama? So if question is asked on this phallomeres, just Question will be asked only on this regions only. Okay, so that's it. So this is the right phylomere, okay, a chitinous membrane, and there is a ventral phylomere, and they have this anal sepsis. Okay, so this one we can call it as a anal sepsis. And what is meant by anal sepsis already we have studied, it is wind sensitive as well as vibration sensitive. Then we have a anal style which is also called as a caudal style. Okay, and what is the function of this anal style or caudal style? It is responsible for detecting the motion of this female cockroach. ఫీమేల్ కాక్రోచ్ ఎటు మూవ్ అవుతుంది అని కనుక్కోవడానికి ఇది యూస్ అవుతుంది అనమాట. సో దట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ రెస్పాన్సిబుల్ ఫర్ హెల్పింగ్ ద కాక్రోచ్ ఇన్ కపులేషన్. ఆర్ ఏబుల్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్? సో దట్ ఈస్ ద ఫంక్షన్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ anal style or caudal style. Okay, so coupling of cockroaches, somewhere the diagram is present, let us see. See here, see how cockroaches they are mating with each other. So two tails are joined together, parallelogram rule of addition. What is meant by parallelogram rule of addition? Tails and tails they are joined together, no? So similarly cockroaches they meet like this. Clear, no? So they mate or they couple like this. And for finding the position of this female, which is the part which is responsible, so this caudal style or anal style, this is responsible. Are you able to understand? It detects the motion of the female cockroach so that it can mate with that female cockroach. That is the purpose of this anal style, or it is also called as a caudal style. అర్థమవుతున్నాయి కదా? So all these parts you need not remember out of NCERT, just for your understanding I am saying. Clear, Nama? So see here, so motion detectors, what is this anal style called as? They are motion detectors which helps in copulation. That is the function of this caudal style. Now see, so therefore see here also I have written phylomere means what? Chitinous asymmetrical structure acting as external male genitalia which surrounds male gonopore. Gonopore is nothing but the hole or the aperture which is present, that is called as gonopore. So surrounding this male genitalia you can find this phylomere. So then male reproductive system is consisting of their four parts. Now these are the very important parts which you should remember very carefully. First one is a pair of testes, second one is seminal vesicles, third one is accessory glands, and the fourth one is called the external genitalia. And around this external genitalia only you can find this phylomeres. Understood now? Okay. Now let us see the function of each of them. Seminal vesicles already we have studied, Nama. They are responsible for what? They are responsible for maintaining the direction of the sperms and forming group of sperms called spermatophores. What is this group of sperms called as? Spermatophores. Sima, in the case of other organisms, sperms they are independent, they are not grouped together. But in the case of cockroach, spermatophores are present, which is called a group of sperms. Clear, Nama? Next we have accessory glands. What is the function of this accessory glands, ma? So they secrete substances forming this sperm capsule. What is meant by sperm capsule? A group of sperms they are present in this spermatophores, no? So this capsule is manufactured by whom? This capsule is manufactured by this accessory gland. And in this accessory gland, once again we have two glands, so somewhere it is present, see here. So accessory gland, it has again two glands. One is a mushroom gland and the second one is also a phallic gland. Understood, Nama? So accessory gland again it has two glands which is called mushroom gland and a phallic gland. They are responsible for producing the capsule of the sperms and they are also responsible for nourishing the sperms also. Okay, ma? Nourishing means what? Keeping the sperms alive. That is called as nourishment. So even in human body also, when sperms are released into the male human being, sperms can live up to 72 hours. Do you know this? Sperms they can live up to 72 hours also. Are you able to understand? So similarly in the case of this male reproductive system, for making the sperms to be alive, these accessory glands, that is mushroom gland and phallic gland, both are responsible. Similarly seminal vesicles are also they are responsible. Seminal vesicles also we have studied, Nama. They are also responsible for maintaining the sperms. Fine. Let us go to the next one. Next, external genitalia. We know all the external genitalia, no? So all the parts which are present in this phylomeres, they are called as external genitalia. That's it. Okay. Next. So testis. Where is the arrangement of this testis? Where this testis is present, it is present in fourth to sixth abdominal segments. Okay. So totally we have 10 segments, no? Out of this total 10 segments, where testis is present in the 4, 5 and 6th segments. So now let us see the passage of this sperms, how sperms they pass from one organ to another organ. First they are produced in the testis, then they enter into vas deferens, a tube-like structure. Then they enter into seminal vesicles where nourishment will take place. Then they enter into this ejaculatory duct. So here you are seeing this yellow color duct, this yellow color duct, this is called as ejaculatory duct. Clear, Nama? And through this ejaculatory duct, it enters into the aperture of this cockroach. Hole of this cockroach or opening, which is also called as male gonopore. Understood, no? So this sequence also you are supposed to remember, because this is the sequence which is given in terms of NCERT. Clear, Nama? So from testis it enters into vas deferens, then it enters into seminal vesicles, then it enters into ejaculatory ducts, then it enters into male gonopore. That's it. So seminal vesicles, to store the terms, to store sperms also, seminal vesicles are responsible. Similarly, sperms are glued together also to form bundles which are called as spermatophores, and they are discharged during copulation. So here I got one more point, Rama. For storing of sperms also, seminal vesicles are responsible. Understood, no? That's it. Okay. So then accessory glands. Already we have studied about accessory glands, Rama. They include mushroom gland and they include phallic gland. What is the work of phallic gland? Still 100% we don't know. Okay. But we know that their secretions are responsible for nourishing the sperms. Okay. So external genitalia, which is also called male gonopophysis or phallomeres. So this also we have studied. Chitinous asymmetrical structures surrounding the male gonopore. Clear, Nama? Then coming to female reproductive system. Okay. So it has two large ovaries. What is meant by ovaries? What is the function of ovaries here? Ovaries and they are responsible for producing the eggs. Eggs are produced in the ovaries. Clear, Nama? Then we have oviducts connecting to the ovaries. Oviducts are small tubes are present through which this sperms can travel. Then we have spermatheca, then genital chamber and collateral glands. So these are the parts which are present in the case of female reproductive system. Understood, Nama? So this is the shape of this ovary. Ovaries, they appear like this. So they are appearing like some leaf-like structure, Nama. So that is the shape of this ovaries. And the tube which is connecting this ovary, it is called as oviduct. Okay, ma? Then this oviduct, it enters into common oviduct. It means both the oviducts, it enters into a common tube, which is also called as vagina. Clear, Nama? Then we have collateral glands also, which are responsible for secretions. Clear, Nama? Then here this structure, this region, we can call it as the genital chamber. Clear, Nama? Then vestibulum, next structure, and both of them it is called as genital pouch. Clear, no? So these are the different structures which are present in the female reproductive system of the cockroach. Understood, no? So which are the parts which are present, ma? So two large ovaries are present, oviducts they are present, spermatheca is present. What is the function of spermatheca, ma? The function of spermatheca is again to store the sperms. Okay, ma? The subsperms which are released by the male, they are stored in the body of the female in this small sac-like structure which is called as spermatheca. Understood, no? Then we have the genital chamber. Clear, no, ma? Then collateral glands are also present. Okay. Understood what is happening? So ovaries are connected to oviducts. How many ovaries are there? Two ovaries. So two ovaries are connected to two oviducts. So both the oviducts they enter into a common ovitube. Okay, and that is called as also called as vagina. Then these glands they are also present. Now let us see what is the function of each of them. Okay, so see here. So here ovaries lie laterally in the 2 to 6 abdominal segments. Okay, ma. Testis, where they were present, ma? 4, 5, 6 segments. So this one you should not be confused. So testis they were present in 4, 5, 6, but ovaries they are present in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 segments. 2 to 6 segments. Clear, no? So each ovary is composed of 8 ovarian tubules. Are able to understand, ma? Containing a chain of developing ova. So each ovary is consisting of how many tubules, Magi? So they have 8 ovarian tubules in which you can find the eggs which are developed here. Understood, no? And these eggs they are also called as ova. Ovum also you can call it as. Clear? So oviducts of each ovary unite into a single median oviduct. Already we have studied, which is also called as vagina, which opens into the genital chamber. Already we have studied all of this. Clear, Nama? So a pair of spermatheca. What is meant by spermatheca? Sperms are stored after mating. So a pair of spermatheca is present in 6th segment, which opens into the genital chamber. Understood, Nama? So therefore, this is another important bit which you should remember. So what is the positioning of spermatheca, ma? Spermatheca, it is present where? It is present in the 6th segment. Clear, no? That's it. So sperms are transferred through spermatophores. So their fertilized eggs are encased oothecae. Okay, ma? See, ma, here in the case of this cockroach, a group of eggs will form a pouch. Are you able to understand? And the name of this pouch is called as oothecae, which is the plural form of this one. Are you able to understand? So here this black color structure which you are finding here, this is called as an oothecae. Clear? So ootheca is dark reddish to blackish brown capsule, which is approximately 8 millimeters long. So females lay 9 to 10 oothecae and each contain 14 to 16 eggs. Understood, no? So cockroaches, they doesn't release eggs as a single egg. Why? Because sperms are not released as a single sperm, no? Group of sperms are released. Are you able to understand? So group of eggs also will be present. Are you able to understand what is happening? And this group of eggs we can call it as an oothecae. And how many oothecae will be released? Nearly 9 to 10 oothecae will be released, and each oothecae may contain 14 to 16 eggs. Clear? That's it. So here you can find this one. So this is the structure of this oothecae, and each of them represents an egg. Clear, no? So from which this nymphs will develop. What is meant by nymph? Sima, we have some types of development. Direct development is present. Indirect development is present. What is meant by direct development? Human beings are indirect development. పుట్టినప్పటి నుంచే ప్రతి పార్ట్ ఉంటుంది కదా మీకు, లేదా 2 కాళ్ళు 2 చేతులు అట్లే, ఒక కాలే ఒక చెయ్యి అట్లే ఉండదు కదా. సో వీఆర్ డైరెక్ట్ డెవలప్మెంట్. క్లియర్ అమ్మా? ఇండైరెక్ట్ డెవలప్మెంట్ మీన్స్ పాసింగ్ త్రూ ఎయిదర్ లార్వల్ స్టేజ్ ఆర్ పాసింగ్ త్రూ ఎయిదర్ nymph stage. And where you find this nymph stage you will find in cockroach. Are you able to understand, ma? So it means this nymph stage means that is a stage where it is underdeveloped cockroach. Shape will be just like a cockroach only. Nymph also, it looks like a cockroach only, but the parts are not highly developed. So that type of indirect development we can call it as nymph stage. And nymph stage you can find in cockroach. Understood now what is happening? And through a process called molting. What is meant by molting? Shedding of the old skin, shedding of the old feathers, shedding of the old hairs. That process is called as molting. And similarly, nearly some 13 times this cockroach will mold. Okay, ma? It means the old structures they are released, and finally it becomes into a fully grown cockroach. So this is the development of a cockroach. Understood, Nama? So see here. So development of Periplanata americana is parometabolous. What is meant by parometabolous, ma? It means it has a nymph stage. Nymphal stage is present. So nymph looks like adults. They molt 13 times to reach the adult form. So the next to last nymphal stage has wing pads. Are you able to understand, ma? So next to last nymphal stage means what? 12th stage. 12th stage is the next to last, no? So in that 12th stage, we will find some wing pads also. Understood now? So this also is an important bit here. How many times it will mount, that is also an important point here. And what is the type of development, nymph development, that is also an important point here. Okay, ma? So only adult cockroaches, they have wings. It means in the 12th stage, wing pads are present. Wings are not developed. Where wings are developed after the 13th molting. Then only it is fully developed, and then only it will have fully grown wings. అర్థమవుతుందా డిఫరెన్స్? సో వాట్ ఈస్ ద డిఫరెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ లార్వల్ స్టేజ్ అండ్ nymph stage? Larval stage means the shape of this organism, it is completely different when compared to the fully grown organism. Okay, for example, if you see tadpole of a larva tadpole ఎలా ఉంటుంది? ఫిష్ లాగా ఉంటుంది కదా. But after growing, it develops into a fully grown frog. But nymph is a stage where the organism, it just appears like a fully grown organism only in shape and in shape. Understood, Nama? But afterwards, it undergoes many molting processes to become fully grown. That's it. So they are pests. Which one we are studying? We are studying about economic importance. Clear, ma? So they are pests because they destroy food and contaminate it with their smelly excreta. Okay, ma? So once cockroaches, they roam into the food material will become very smelly because of the releasing of this excreta. Clear, ma? They also transmit bacterial diseases like cholera, typhoid, as well as tuberculosis. Okay, so that's it. That is about cockroach, ma? So tomorrow we will study about the structure of frog and its morphology and its anatomy also. Okay, that's it. The anatomy and morphology of frog, ma? So let us try to understand this one. So what is the name of the species, ma, of which frog is present in which species? Tigrina. Clear, no? Genus is Rana. Class amphibians. And phylum is chordates. Clear, no? So Rana tigrina is the most common species in India. So wherever you want, you can find this frogs, ma. So they are cold-blooded or poikilotherms. Clear, no? Cold-blooded organisms, you can also call them as poikilotherms. So this slide is like this, ma. Next slide is okay. So they can change the color to hide from their enemies. The nature is called as camouflage, and it is also called as mimicry. Are you able to understand? So they can change the color of their skin. So during summer and winter, they undergo estivation, which is called as summer sleep, and hibernation, which is called as winter sleep. So to protect from extreme heat and extreme cold. Clear, Nama? So they go deeper into the burrows of the land and they take rest in the winter season as well as in summer season. So summer sleep is called what? It is called estivation, and winter sleep is called as hibernation. So next, the skin is moist, smooth and slippery due to mucus. So a layer of mucus will be present on the skin. That is the reason why the skin of the frog will be slippery and it will be moist and smooth also. So dorsal side, back side is olive green. So general color is green color on the back side, and with dark irregular spots. Ventral side is pale yellow. That is on the stomach region side. It is having which color? It is having pale yellow color. Frog never drinks water, but absorbs it through the skin. It doesn't drink water, and it absorbs the required water through the porous skin itself. So body is divisible only into head and trunk. Head is present, trunk is present. Clear, no? So neck and tail, they are absent. But in the case of cockroach, we studied that thorax also will be present, and front region of the thorax, we can call it as prothorax. So prothorax itself is modified into neck in the case of cockroach. But here there is no concept of neck here. So only body is present and head is present and trunk is present. Thorax cavity is not present. Understood, Nama? So therefore there is no concept of neck here. So above the mouth, a pair of nostrils is present. Clear now? Nostrils responsible for respiration. So this is about the basic structure of this frog. So this is the trunk region, head region, eyes are present, and behind the eyes you can find some vibrating structure which is called as a tympanum for sensing the vibrations. And two pairs of limbs are present. For frontal limbs you can call them as forelimbs, and the back limbs you can call them as hind limbs. Clear no? So that's it. These are some of the other parts which are given. So thigh, shank, this region, ankle, foot, toe, and this foot, it is divided into webs, which is responsible for swimming also. Clear Nama? And in the fore limb you can find the hand, fingers, forearm and an upper arm, a tympanum, mouth, and external nares. So all these are the parts which are present in the frog. Clear no? So eyes are bulged and covered by a nictitating membrane that protects them while in water. So this is an important point. So where you will find this nictitating membrane you will find in the case of frogs. So what is meant by nictitating membrane? So we use the goggles for swimming, no? So like this, in the eyes of these frogs they have natural goggles, and that membranous structure, that is called as nictitating membrane, which helps to protect the eyes of the frog from salt water or from fresh water. Clear Nama? On either side of eyes have a membrane which is called as tympanum. So behind the eyes they have a vibrating structure. So fully developed ears are not present in the case of frogs. Only a vibrating structure is present which is called as tympanum. And when any sound is produced, this sound goes and strikes this tympanum. This tympanum will vibrate accordingly, and sensing that vibrations, the frog will understand what is happening in its surroundings. So that is the function of tympanum. Clear Nama? So four limbs, 4 digits means 4 fingers are present. Hind limbs, 5 digits, 5 fingers are present. So they help in swimming, walking, leaping, and burrowing. Burrowing means going inside the burrows of the land, in the holes of the land. Clear Nama? Hind limbs are larger and muscular than the forelimbs. So back limbs are, you can say the legs, back legs of this frog, they are very strong when compared to the front ones. So feet have webbed digits that help in swimming. Webbed structure means what? So this kind of structure will be present. Clear Nama? Web type of structure will be present which help them in swimming of this frog. Clear no? Then frogs exhibit sexual dimorphism. This is another important bit. So what is meant by sexual dimorphism? So males and females, they are not same in size and shape. Shape may be similar, size is not similar. So this is called as sexual dimorphism. Are you able to understand? So different in shape as well as size. So male frogs have sound producing vocal sac and also a copulatory pad on the first digit of the forelimbs, which are absent in the case of males. So in the front limbs of this what you call frogs, there are 2 limbs, 2 pairs of limbs are there. Front limbs and back limbs are present. Hind limbs. In the front limbs, so these frogs, they have a pad which is called as nuptial pad, and this is also called a copulatory pad also. So during copulation, with the help of this pad which is present on the forelimbs of this frog, it holds the female frog. Are you able to understand? For holding the female frog, this nuptial pad will be helpful for this male frog. Okay, and they have a vocal sac also. Clear Nama? Vocal sac means what? In rainy season and winter season, some in rainy season mostly, you can see frogs will be singing some songs. Understood Nama? Patal winner ipudunna frogs, they will sing songs, and for singing the songs, these vocal sacs are responsible. So they sing songs more beautifully so that they can attract the females. Understood Nama? So this structure which you are finding here, this is that vocal sac with which they produce the sound. Are you able to understand? So CSI ground undi kadra, CSI grounds, Rajaredi Street. So when I was some 9th or 10th, I hope, or 7th classes, that was totally filled with water one time because of huge water, and lakhs of frogs were present.
So all of them, they were singing the songs like this with the help of this vocal sacs. Understood now? That's it. Okay. So, and when you see the digestive system of this phragma, it consists of alimentary canal and digestive glands. What is meant by alimentary canal? The canal which opens from the base of the mouth up to the anus. The total tube, we can call it as alimentary canal. So alimentary canal is present in frogs also, and you will have some digestive glands also which secretes the enzymes for digestion. And mostly hydrochloric acid is produced by these glands. Clear number? So alimentary canal is a short term because frogs are carnivores and hence the length of the intestine is reduced. Are you able to understand? Sima, in the case of herbivores, length of the intestine will be very large. And in the case of non-vegetarian animals, that is carnivores, length of the intestine will be very small. So even in lions also, in cats also, in what you call tigers also, hyenas also, you will find the length of this intestine is very small. But human intestine, it is nearly 6 meters long, no? But the length in the case of bigger animals like cats and in the case of lions and tigers, it will be only of 2 meters. Are you able to understand? Otherwise, they eat only non-vegetarian food, Nama. So fiber content is 0 in non-vegetarian food. So if length of the intestine is very long, constipation problem they have to face. Understood, Nama? They too require tablets for going to motion. So that is why for every carnivorous animals, the length of the intestine will be very less. Clear, no? So next, what is the structure or openings in which one opening is open into the other? That sequence is given here. Mouth. Mouth opens into buccal cavity. We know what is meant by buccal cavity, Onama? The inside of the mouth is called as buccal cavity. So then buccal cavity opens into pharynx. We know what is meant by pharynx, no? Then it opens into esophagus, then it opens into stomach, then intestine, then rectum, then finally cloaca. So this is the sequence in which the parts are arranged in the case of frog. And this sequence you should remember. So food is captured by bilobed tongue. So it means tongue is divided like this, ma. So 2 lobes are present in the case of frog. Bilobed tongue. Even in the case of snakes also you can find this bilobed tongue. Tongue is divided into 2 parts, no? That is called bilobe. Clear? So digestive glands. Gastric glands secrete HCl, hydrochloric acid, and other gastric juices. So liver, what liver does? It secretes bile juice. It is stored in the gallbladder. So bile is stored where, ma? Bile is stored in the gallbladder. Clear, no? So you can find some stones falling in this or developed in this gallbladder also, where this bile juice will be stored. It will be just like a packet which stores this bile juice. And if your food habits are very horrible, stones will be created in this gallbladder, and this storage of bile will become a very big problem. Understood, no? So that is the function of gallbladder for storing of bile juice secreted by liver. Even in human beings also same condition. So pancreas, it secretes pancreatic juices containing digestive enzymes. So this is about the digestive system of the frog. Gastric glands are present which secrete HCl and other juices. Liver secretes bile. Bile is stored in gallbladder. Pancreas secretes pancreatic juices responsible for digestion. Clear, Nama? And here partial digestion occurs in stomach by HCl and other gastric juices. Okay. So in the case of human beings, we have a complete digestive system. Food is digested completely. But here what happens? Partial digestion happens, and that partially digested food, that we can call it as a chyme. Clear, Nama? Partially digested food. So this chyme is passed from stomach to another region which is at the starting of the intestines, which is called as duodenum. Okay. So what is meant by duodenum? This is the first part of the small intestine. So from the stomach, chyme enters into duodenum. Clear, Nama? So duodenum receives bile from the gallbladder and other pancreatic juices from the pancreas through a common bile duct. Clear, no? Common bile duct means what? Through this duct only, bile juice is also released, pancreatic juices also they are released. Are you able to understand, ma? So these juices, they enter into the duodenum, and again there complete digestion of food will take place. So digestion of food is taking place in two stages. First in stomach also, next in intestines also. Clear, Nama? So bile emulsifies fat. What is meant by emulsification? Emulsification means it is mixing of two non-mixable substances. For example, oil and water, you can never mix them, no? Clear, no? Fat is completely made up of oil only, no? Clear, no? So fat and water are mixed with the help of bile, which are immixable. They are not mixable, no? That process is called as emulsification. So in the case of frogs, you can find this emulsification process of with the help of bile. So here I have written emulsification means what? Process of mixing non-mixable substances. So mixing of fat as well as water. That is happening with the help of bile. Clear, no? So pancreatic juice digest carbohydrates and proteins. So what is the function of pancreatic juice, ma? This is another important bit. Function of pancreatic juice is digestion of carbohydrates as well as proteins. So digestion completes in the intestine. So finger-like villi and microvilli in the intestine absorb the digested food. So in the inside the intestines, there will be so small finger-like projections, hair-like projections inside the intestine. So what these fingers they will do, these hairs what they will do, they will absorb the digested food. So undigested solid waste moves into rectum and again it passes into the cloaca. So cloaca is of the final opening in the case of frogs. Are you able to understand? So undigested still, see 100% of food can never be digested. Do you know that? 100% of food can never be digested in human body also. So definitely there will be some food which is undigested. Clear, no? So this undigested food, it moves into the rectum and finally passes out through another region which is called as cloaca, the final opening in the case of frog. Clear? That's it. So skin is aquatic respiratory organ. What is meant by aquatic respiratory organ, ma? Aquatic respiratory organ means what? Frog is an amphibian, no? It can live on water also, it can live on land also. So when it is present in water, it has to respire, no? And this respiration is possible with the help of skin. So that is called as aquatic respiration. And another name for aquatic respiration is cutaneous respiration also. So dissolved oxygen in the water is exchanged to skin by the process which is called as diffusion. Okay. Even in the lungs also, the exchange of gases takes place with the help of diffusion only, no? Even in plants also, some of the water is transported to the higher parts through diffusion process only. Are you able to understand? So when it is present on land, buccal cavity, skin and lungs, they are responsible for respiration. Understood, no? And this kind of respiration we can call it as pulmonary respiration. Understood, no? So when it is present in water, it will respire through skin. When it is present in land, it respires through buccal cavity, skin and lungs. One is called cutaneous respiration and the second one is called as pulmonary respiration. Okay, no? So lungs, how many lungs are there? Two elongated. So lungs are they given in the figure, ma? So see here, this is the structure of the lung. So this is the first one and this is the second one. Are you able to understand, ma? That is the shape of the lungs. So two elongated pink colored sac-like organs present in the thorax. Are you able to understand, ma? So two elongated, and what is the color of this lungs, ma? Pink colored lungs. So they are present somewhere in between the head and the trunk. That actually thorax is not present in the case of what you call frogs, ma? Just for your understanding, he is saying that what is the position of the lungs? Somewhere in between the head and the trunk, in the middle. So these lungs are arranged. Okay. So then what is the movement of air? Air enters through the nostrils and from there it enters into the buccal cavity and it enters into the lungs. Are you able to understand? See, here there is one point. On land, this frog, it can respire through skin in water also and skin on land also. Skin is responsible for respiration on both, on water also as well as land also. But buccal cavity, it is used only in the case of land only. This is another point which you should remember. Okay. So during estivation and hibernation, gaseous exchange takes place through purely skin itself, because it will shut its mouth and it will sleep. Are you able to understand, ma? Nostrils also doesn't work because burrows, they are present in very deeper layers of the what you call landonoma. So nostril respiration is not possible. So they will respire only with the help of skin only while they are sleeping in summer season as well as in winter season. So this is another bit which can be remembered. Clear now? Next, circulatory system. So this is a very beautiful concept of phragma. It has two types of circulatory system. So one is blood vascular circulatory system and the second one is called as lymphatic system. Understood now? And in blood vascular system, we have three parts. One is heart, blood vessels and blood. In lymphatic system, we have lymph channels and lymph nodes. Okay. Now what is meant by lymph here? Lymph means sima. When blood enters into the organs of the frog, when blood enters into the organs of the frog, and blood enters through arteries, Noma, and deoxygenated blood is collected by veins. This you should have studied previously, no? Oxygenated blood is supplied from the heart to the organs. There, the process of digestion may happen inside the cell. Clear, no? And from there, deoxygenated blood will be carried by veins. But in the case of frogs, what happens is, some of the organelles of this blood, they are left behind. They are not carried by the veins. So this leftover blood, that is called as lymph. Understood, no? The blood which is remaining or which is not carried by the veins, that we can call it as lymph. So this lymph is separately collected by another type of system which is called as lymphatic system. Are you able to understand? Blood has many organelles, no? Blood has WBCs also, blood has RBCs also, neutrophils also, mesophils also. Many organelles will be present. So some of them, they are left behind in the organs. So all the organelles of this blood, they cannot be collected by the veins in the case of frogs. Remaining parts of the blood, that we can call it as lymph. Understood, Nama? This lymph is collected by separate mechanism which is called as lymphatic system. And lymphatic system consists of lymph channels and lymph nodes. Understood now? So this lymphatic system collects this remaining part of the blood and again it is supplied to the main vein. Malli ekkadiki supply chestundi idi? Again it is supplied to the main vein through another type of vibrating structure which is called as lymphatic heart. Okay. So main heart of the frog is separate and the frog has another structure for pumping this lymph, and that is called as lymph heart. And 4 lymph hearts, they are present in the case of frog. We are not discussing about main heart. We are discussing about another heart which is responsible for pumping this lymph, which is called as lymph heart. And how many lymph hearts are present? 4 lymph hearts are present. So that system we can call it as lymphatic system. Understood, Nama? So all the details I have written here, you can go through all of them. So lymph means what? Clear to white fluid made up of white blood cells that attack bacteria in the blood. Are you able to understand, ma? So lymph is not red in color, it is white in color or maybe transparent also. And it is mostly made up of what, ma? White blood corpuscles. It means white blood corpuscles totally, they are not collected by veins. Okay? And some of the serum and some of the WBC, they make the lymph. Okay, that's it. So see here, lymph is a combination of plasma plus lymphocytes and they are collected through lymph vessels. All these lymph vessels unite to form large lymphatic vessels. They open into rhythmically contractile sac called lymph heart. And how many hearts are present? 4 lymph hearts, they are present. Understood, Noma? So this lymph is connected by lymph channels. Lymph channels opens into lymph nodes. All these lymph nodes, they are connected to a respiratory vibrating, rhythmically vibrating structure called lymph heart. And this lymph heart pumps this lymph into the main vessel, main veins. Okay, that is the functioning which is happening here. So in the figure you can see here. So from the heart, blood is carried to arteries. Arteries take the blood to organs. And in some organs, from the organs, total blood is connected by the vein system. But there will be some leftover blood, leftover organelles. And here you are seeing some pink color lines. They are called as lymphatic nodes and lymphatic channels, which are connected to different organs. Understood, Nama? and that is again corrected, and this forms the lymph system, and lymph heart again pumps this blood into the vein system. This is the arrangement of this uh, circulatory system. So it consists of blood circulatory system as well as lymphatic circulatory system. అర్థమవుతుంది కదా difference? That's it. Clear Nama? So leftover components are collected and lymph system finally connected to veins. That's it. Okay. So then circulatory system, some more properties. It is closed type. We know what is meant by closed type, Nama. So for open type of system, we have made a mnemonic which is called as anthe, Nama. So frogs doesn't fall into this anthe. Understood, no? They are having veins also, veinlets also, arteries also. Everything is present. Clear, no? So three-chambered heart, two atria and one ventricle is present, and it is covered by pericardium. So a membranous layer present on the above of the heart, that is called as pericardium. So what is meant by pericardium? A double membranous structure present as a covering to the heart of this frog, that is called as pericardium. Clear, no? So double walled sac containing heart and roots of greater vessels. So double layered membranous structure, that is called as pericardium. So heart is covered by pericardium. So how many chambers are present totally? 3 chambers. 2 atria are present, 1 ventricle is present. Okay, atrium is the singular form, atria is the plural form. So then a triangular structure called sinus venosus joins the right atrium. Okay, ma? So on the right atrium you will find a triangular structure which is called as sinus venosus. So in the figure here you can see, ma, this is the sinus venosus. Clear, no? So this triangular structure you are seeing here, no? This one is called as sinus venosus. And what is the function of this sinus venosus, ma? It is doing the function of pacemaker. Pacemaker means what? It regulates how many times the heart should contract and relax in 1 second or in 1 minute. Understood, no? So for example, if you are running, you require more oxygen, no, ma? And for more oxygen to be supplied to the different cells of your body, heart should pump the blood many times. Okay, so who decides the number of functions of the heart? That is decided by a structure which is called as pacemaker. Understood, no? And here this sinus venosus, it does the work of a pacemaker. Understood, no? That's it. So, and where is the arrangement of this pacemaker? Where the sinus venosus is present? It is present on the right atrium. This is another important bit. So it receives blood through major veins. So this sinus venosus, this also requires blood for its functioning, and this blood is received through what? It is received through major veins, which is also called as vena cava. So this structure, that is called as vena cava there. Understood, no? Next, ventricle opens ventrally into a sac-like structure which is called as conus arteriosus. Endra pronunciation adi arteriosus. Clear, no? So ventricle opens into another sac-like structure which is called as conus arteriosus. And what is the function of this one, ma? The function of this conus arteriosus, it is directing blood into the correct atrium, because we have 2 atriums, no, ma? 2 atria are present, no? So how much of blood should enter into which atrium? That is decided by this conus arteriosus. Understood, no? So these 2 functions you should remember. They will not be asked in the examination, no, what is their function, but just for your understanding, what is the function of these different parts which are present. Okay. So sinus venosus, it acts as a pacemaker. Conus arteriosus, it acts as directing the blood into the right atrium. That is the function of this one. Clear, no? And what is meant by pericardium, already I have written. Clear? Now this is the mechanism how blood transfers, ma? It transfers from the heart into the arteries, into the body parts. Same system. Clear? Circulatory system. These are 2 important bits. Hepatic portal system and renal portal system. So what is meant by hepatic portal system? If there is a venous connection between liver and intestine, there is a connection between liver and intestine, no, because the juices which are released by the liver, they must be released into the intestine, because in intestine only 100% digestion happens, no? So if there is a correction between liver and intestine, that kind of system we can call it as hepatic portal system. So hepatic portal system you can find in frogs. Understood, no? Similarly, renal portal system. What is renal portal system? Connection between kidneys and the lower parts of the body. Are you able to understand? Kidney, if it is connected to lower parts of the body, then the type of connection we can call it as renal portal system. So hepatic portal system, renal portal system, both are present in the case of frogs. Clear, Noma? That's it. So blood, what is blood composed of? So it is formed of plasma and RBCs, WBCs and platelets. So RBCs are nucleated. This is one important point. Nucleated means they are composed of nucleus and contains hemoglobin. RBC contains hemoglobin, no? Clear, no? So lymph lacks a few proteins and RBCs, because we have studied that lymph mainly consists of what? It consists of WBC and serum, plasma. Understood, Amma? RBCs will not be present in lymph. Total RBCs, they will be collected by veins only. Understood, Amma? Some WBCs, they are left over in the organs. So main lymph consists of WBCs and serum itself. So lymph lacks a few proteins and RBCs. Red blood corpuscles, they are not present in lymph. That is why it is white in color. What is the color of lymph? White in color, because of the presence of WBC, absence of RBC. Clear? So blood circulation is achieved by the pumping action of muscular heart. This we know. Blood carries nutrients, gases and water to the respective sites during the circulation. This also we know. Clear, Nama? Next, excretory system. It contains 2 kidneys, 2 ureters, 1 cloaca and 1 urinary bladder. Understood, Nama? How many kidneys? 2 kidneys. How many ureters? 2. What is meant by ureter? The tubes which are originating from the kidneys, they are called as ureters. 2 ureters are present. Clear, Nama? 1 cloaca is present. So these ureters, in the case of male reproductive system, ureters directly open into cloaca. In the female reproductive system of the flock, ureters as well as ovary ducts also, both of them, they open into the cloaca separately. Understood, Nama? That we will study later. So urinary bladder, a bladder for storing urine, that is also present. Clear, ma? Kidney, what is the shape of the kidney, ma? Color is dark red and bean shape. Okay, found posteriorly in the body cavity on both sides of vertebral column. What is meant by posteriorly, ma? So very closer to the dorsal region is called as posterior region. Dorsal region means back region, no, ma? So they are not 100% towards the dorsal region, slightly towards the what you call back region or dorsal region. That is called as a posterior position. Understood, no? So they are found posteriorly and on each side of the vertebral column. It means on the vertebrates, one is present on this side, one is present on the other side. In the figure you can see here, Nama. So these bean shaped reddish brown structures you are seeing, no? So these are the kidneys. These are the kidneys. And which are the ureters? Here you are seeing some tubes which are passing, Nama. These are the ureters which directly opens into the cloaca. Clear, no? So each kidney is formed of nephrons, and another name for nephrons is uriniferous tubules also. So kidneys are made up of nephrons only. That's it. Next, ureters emerge from the kidneys. We know in males they act as urinogenital duct, clear, Nama, and which opens into the cloaca. So in the males, they are responsible for urinogenital duct. It means they are responsible for releasing urine also, and they are responsible for genital parts also, which are responsible in copulation. Understood, Nama? So, but in females, this is one important. Even in human beings also, same concept is happening. In females, ureters and oviduct, they open separately in the cloaca. Understood, no? In the case of males, same ureters, they function as urinogenital ducts. But in the case of female frogs, ureter tube is different, oviducts, they are different. And both of them, they open into the cloaca. Understood, no? That's it. So, urinary bladder. What is the function of urinary bladder, ma? Storing the urine. That is the function of urinary bladder. Clear, no? Thin wall of this urinary bladder is very thin. So present ventral to the rectum, which also opens in cloaca. So what is the positioning of this urinary bladder? It is present on the ventral side to rectum. So these kind of small details also you should never miss, because questions can be framed on them also. How question can be framed? Urinary bladder, it is present. First bit ventral to rectum, second bit dorsal to rectum, next ventral to cloaca, dorsal to cloaca. Like 4 bits, 4 options can be framed. Understood, Amma? So every detail you should not miss. So it is present ventral to the rectum, and also it opens into the cloaca. So in the case of males, how many tubes opens into the cloaca? Males, 2. What are they? Urinogenital ducts, that is ureters, and the second one is the duct of urinary bladder also. Are you able to understand? But in the case of females, 3 tubes or 3 ducts open into the cloaca. What are they? One is ureter, second one is oviduct, and the third one is again urinary bladder. So that is important point. And a frog is a ureotelic animal. It means it releases uric acid. Frogs release what kind of nitrogenous waste? They release uric acid. That is why they are called as ureotelic animals. Understood, no? And this major uric acid, it is composed of nitrogen. So that is why they are also called as nitrogenous waste also. Okay. So nitrogenous waste are carried by blood into the kidney, where it is separated and it is excreted. Understood, no? So this, where we take this nitrogenous waste, blood carries this nitrogenous waste into kidney, and kidney releases this one through what you call other parts like ureters as well as urinary bladders. Understood, no? Which are opening into the cloaca. Clear? So cloaca, what? So we are studying about the endocrine system in the case of frogma. So endocrine glands, what do they do? Endocrine glands, they secrete hormones. Okay, ma? So how many endocrine glands are present? Pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, pineal body, pancreatic islets, adrenals, and gonads. So these are the different endocrine glands which are present in the frog. And what is their function? Function is producing hormones, secreting of hormones. So this placement of these glands is also given here. So you can see. So this is the arrangement of adrenal gland, gonads, pancreas, thyroid, pituitary glands. These are the arrangements which are given. So total how many are there, ma? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 8 endocrine glands are present. Okay. So we need not study in detail about them. So next we study about the nervous system which is present in the case of frog. So nervous system of the frog we can divide into 3 types. What are that? Central nervous system, second one is peripheral nervous system, and the third one is autonomic nervous system. 3 types of nervous systems are present. So central nervous system, again it is divided into 2 types. So first one is the brain and the extension of the brain which is called the spinal cord. Clear, Nama? Peripheral nervous system, again I can divide into 2 types. Cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Clear? What is meant by cranial nerves, ma? Cranial nerves means what? The nerves which are starting from the back part of the brain, they are called as cranial nerves. And the nerves which are present in the spinal cord, you can call them as spinal nerves. So peripheral nervous system are 2 types, cranial nerves as well as spinal nerves. Then we have the third type of nervous system which is called as autonomic nervous system. So autonomic nervous system is again divided into 2 types. So sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So these are the nervous system which you are supposed to by heart. Clear, no? So next, Next, coming to the different parts of the brain. So brain of the frog we can divide into three types. First one is the brain which is present in the front region, which is called as forebrain. Clear, Nama? Second one is called as midbrain, the brain which is present in the middle region, and the third one is called as hindbrain or hindbrain. Clear? So forebrain, again that is the brain which is present in the front region. Again I can divide it into three types. What are they? They contain olfactory lobes, they contain paired cerebral hemispheres, and it contains diencephalon also. Clear, Nama? So three parts are present in the forebrain. So what is the function of this olfactory lobe? So this additional information, just for your information, I have written, Ma. If you study like this, you can remember it for a long time. Clear? So olfactory lobes. What is the function of these olfactory lobes? They are responsible for the sense of smell. Clear, Ma? And paired cerebral hemispheres are present, and diencephalon is also present. What is the function of diencephalon? It connects the midbrain as well as the forebrain. The middle brain and the forebrain, they are connected by a connection which is called as diencephalon. So these are the three parts which are present in the forebrain. Clear, Nama? Then coming to midbrain, midbrain contains a pair of optic lobes. What is meant by pair of optic lobes, Ma? Pair means how many? Two. Optic lobes means, so these are the parts which are responsible for vision, which are responsible for sight. Clear, no? And hindbrain, back side of the brain, it consists of two parts. One is cerebellum and the next one is medulla oblongata. So what is the function of cerebellum? It is responsible for balancing structures. Clear, Noma? Similarly, in frog, ear also behaves like a balancing structure. This is one important bit which you should remember. Not only this cerebellum, ear also. Tympanum is present, no? Inside the tympanum there is internal ear for the frog. We have external ears, no? But frog has an internal ear. Are you able to understand? So this internal ear of the frog also behaves like a balancing structure. My point is that still scientists do not have a clarity whether these ears, whether they are responsible for hearing or ears are responsible for balancing. Still we don't know. Okay, so we say that ears are responsible for both listening also, hearing also, as well as balancing also. This is one point in the case of frog. Clear, no? So therefore, the hindbrain consists of cerebellum and medulla oblongata. Cerebellum is responsible for balancing, and medulla oblongata, it is the lowest part of the brain, which is called as medulla oblongata. So from this medulla oblongata only, what you call your spinal cord will be continued. Able to understand? So these are the different functions and parts of brain of a frog. Okay, next see. So cranial nerves. What is meant by cranial nerves? The nerves which are arising from the brain, they are called as cranial nerves. And how many pairs of cranial nerves are present in the frog? 10 pairs of cranial nerves are present. This may be an important bit. Okay, so brain is included in a bony brain box which is called as cranium. So the box in which brain is present, it is called as cranium. So medulla oblongata passes out through the foramen magnum and continues into the spinal cord. Okay, ma? So medulla oblongata, it continues as spinal cord through a small hole. Okay, medulla oblongata ఉంటుంది కదా వెనకాల, అది స్పైనల్ కార్డ్ గా కంటిన్యూ అవుతుంది అనమాట. ఎక్కడి నుంచి పాస్ అవుతుంది? ఇట్ పాసెస్ త్రూ ఏ హోల్ విచ్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ foramen magnum. So it is a hole which is present in the skull of the frog. Are you able to understand, ma? That's it. So it continues into a spinal cord. So spinal cord is enclosed where? It is enclosed in the vertebral column. So in almost all the vertebrates, spinal column is enclosed in the vertebral column itself. Understood now? What is meant by vertebral column? We know, no, ma? This region we call it as vertebral column, and spinal cord is enclosed in that vertebral column. So next, coming to sense organs. So sense organs, how many types of sense organs are present in the frog? So sense of touch, sense of smell, taste, vision and hearing. Okay, ma? So the organs which are responsible for touch, they are called as sensory papillae. Taste, taste buds. Smell, nasal epithelium. What is meant by epithelium? We know, no? So the outermost layer of, what you call, your spinal cord, it is called as epithelium. And the innermost layer of, what you call, your glandular epithelium. What is meant by glandular epithelium? We know, no? So the outermost layer of, what you call, your spinal cord, it is called as what you call some of the organs, even the digestive system also, that is made up of a layer of muscles which is called as epithelium nama. So here also in the case of frog also, the nose is made up of epithelium and that is called as nasal epithelium. So through which it smells. Next, for vision, which is responsible, eyes are responsible for vision. Okay, and hearing. So hearing, there is a tympanum with an internal ears. So for the frog you cannot see the ears which we have. So there will be a membrane which vibrates. Clear Nama? It senses the vibrations in the atmosphere, and sensing that vibrations, the brain of the frog it analyzes what is the type of sound it is getting. Are you able to understand? We do have a vibrating structure now, but it is present very inside, very deep inside the ear. But for the case of frog, it is present on the outside surface itself. Clear? And ears are internal. Okay. So eyes are a pair of spherical structures situated in the orbit. So where eyes are situated, they are situated in a orbit like of arrangement. So, and they are simple eyes. What is meant by simple eyes? There is only one eye. Single unit of eye if it is present, it is called as simple eye. Compound eyes also present, no? For example, previously we studied about cockroach and dragonfly. They have compound eyes. Are you able to understand? Some 2000 very simple eyes they make a compound eye. But in the case of frog, we have a simple eye itself. So this is one important bit here. So ear is the organ of hearing as well as balancing also. But still we don't have a clarity about this one. But we study that ear behaves like a organ of hearing as well as balancing also. So this is about sense organs in the case of frog. So then reproductive system. So male reproductive system we will study first of all, then we will go to female reproductive system. Clear ma? See ma, here in the case of the male reproductive system of the frog, we have this testis here. Testis is present no ma? So testis it opens into the kidney directly in the case of male frog. Are you able to understand ma? In the case of female frog, ovary will be present. Are you able to understand? And there is no connection between ovary and the kidney. So this is another important bit which you should remember in the case of frogs. Are you able to understand? So this testis, it opens into what? It opens into kidney. But in the case of female frog, ovaries will be there, which releases the eggs. But this doesn't open into the what you call the kidney. Are you able to understand ma? So this testis, it releases the sperms. Sperms passes through a passage inside the kidney. Then it opens into the cloaca of the frog. But in the case of female frog, the eggs which are released, that doesn't pass through the kidney. They have a via passage and directly that passage opens into the cloaca. So this is a difference in the case of male frog and a female frog. Are you able to understand what? So see here. So a pair of yellowish ovoid testis is present. What is meant by ovoid testis? Ovoid testis means oval shape, or you can call it as egg shaped testis are present. Clear nama? Adhered to the upper part of kidneys by a double fold of peritoneum, which is also called as mesorchium. Adhered means what? Joined. Adhered means joined onto the top of the kidneys by what? By a membranous structure. And what is the name of that membrane? Peritoneum. It is also called as mesorchium. Are you able to understand? Peritoneum is the name of a membrane. Are you able to understand? So these are all important bits ma. So therefore what we have understood here, testis is attached to top part of the kidney through a layer which is called as peritoneum, which is also called as mesorchium. So testis, it opens into vasa efferentia, which are 10 to 12 in number. So how many number of vasa efferentia are present ma? 10 to 12. They again enter into kidneys. Vasa efferentia opens into kidneys. Kidneys opens into Bidder's canal. Bidder's canal open into urinogenital duct. It finally opens into the cloaca. Okay ma? So this sequence also can be asked in the examination. ఈ సీక్వెన్స్ కూడా మీరు బట్టి పట్టాలి. ఎక్కడి నుంచి ఎక్కడికి వెళ్తున్నాయి, స్పైనల్ గా స్పమ్స్ ఎక్కడికి రీచ్ అవుతాయి. దిస్ ఇస్ ఆల్ ఈస్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. క్లియర్ నమ్మా? సో దిస్ స్ట్రక్చర్ యు ఆర్ సీయింగ్ హియర్ నో, this structure, this is called as cloaca here. Able to understand ma? Cloaca, then cloaca has a small hole also. This hole which is present here, this is called as cloacal aperture also. Okay ma? So through this only sperms also, fecal matter also gets discharged from the body of this frog, male frog. Understood ma? So testis opens into what? Vasa efferentia. Then it opens into kidneys. then it opens into Bidder's canal, then urinogenital duct, then it opens into the cloaca. This is the sequence. Clear now? So cloaca is a small median chamber. It is a very small chamber, ma. Clear? It is used to pass a fecal matter also, urine also, as well as sperms also. So this point also you should remember. So cloaca is responsible for discharging fecal matter also, urine also, as well as sperms also. Understood now? That's it. So here you can see the different parts. Cloaca is present, cloacal aperture is present. So this is the urinary bladder which stores the urine, and a passage called rectum is also present here. This is the rectum. Clear now? Then you have this adrenal gland. Testis is present, and these testes, they are attached to the kidneys, and attached to this testis you have a body which is called as a fat bodies also, and 10 to 12 pairs of 10 to 12 number of vasa efferentia are also present. So these are the different parts. Okay, now see female reproductive system. So here also a pair of ovaries are present. So in the case of male also two testes are present. Here also two ovaries are present. So this is one important bit. There is no functional connection between the kidneys. Sorry, functional connection with kidneys. But these testes in the case of male frog, they were connected with kidneys. But here there is no such connection. So from the ovaries, oviduct will start. Ovaries nunchi em start avutundi, a tube will start which is called as oviduct from the ovaries, and it opens into the cloaca separately. That means all this passage which is followed in the case of male frog, that is not followed here. Directly this ovum or ova, it is released into the oviduct, and oviduct releases this eggs directly into the cloaca. From there it is released into the water, and in the case of frog, external fertilization will happen. Are you able to understand? So a mature female lay 2500 to 3000 ova at a time. This may be another important bit. Clear? Fertilization is external and takes place in water. There is no concept of internal fertilization here. Total fertilization takes place in water itself, because ovum, it is released by the female frog into the water itself directly. There fertilization will happen. So, and there is a larval stage also. So this larva of this frog, it just appears like a small fish itself. Understood now? So the larva, this is the larval stage of this frog. Understood now? It just appears like a fish itself. And so therefore this type of development, what you call this, if any larval stage is present, indirect development. So this is also an important bit here. Clear ma? So we have to write development is what? Development is indirect. Indirect development means there is a larval stage, and from that an adult frog will develop. Human beings are direct development or indirect development? Direct development only, no? We don't have a larva stage. Mundu chinna pampilla lagunde malli manchi kaledu kada. Previously also he was in the shape of human only, now also in the shape of human only. Clear nama? So development involves a larval stage which is called as a tadpole. So tadpole undergoes metamorphosis to form adult. So this is another important bit. Tadpole undergoes what? Metamorphosis. What is metamorphosis, ma? So a sudden change in shape and size is called as metamorphosis. So initially it looks like a fish, no, ma? But suddenly it grows into a frog. Are you able to understand? So this type of indirect development stage which is called as metamorphosis. So metamorphosis is present in the case of frog. Okay, that's it. So that completes the topic which is called as structural organization of animals. So tomorrow we will start the topic of cell, the unit of life. Clear ma? So ikkada unna important bits unnai kada ma, ivi kuda chadavali meeru. Unit tarvata cell cycle వస్తుంది. Clear no? So whatever important points I have written, వీటితో పాటు మీరు చదివితే మీకు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవడానికి ఈజీగా ఉంటుంది. అర్థం, వాటిపైన క్వశ్చన్స్ రావు, బట్ ఫర్ యూ ఇట్ విల్ బి వెరీ ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్. అండర్స్టూడ్ అమ్మా? మీరు డైరెక్ట్ ఎన్సీఆర్టీ చదివినారంటే ఇవన్నీ ఉండవు అందులో. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ.